Ponytails podcast. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Andres Gamboa here, host of the Ponytails podcast, and we have a special episode today. Let's go. I'm so excited. In the waiting room is the rest of the Ponytails podcast team, and we're excited because today is our 100th episode. So if this is your first one, shame on you, but that's okay. We forgive you. Welcome to the show. If you don't know, this show is about people who sold books door to door and live to tell about it, and they tell about it here on the Ponytails podcast. And so we are so excited to have this show. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody who's listening, everybody who has listened, and of course to all our guests, all 99 of them, and then some because we had multiple guests in some episodes. But it's been a ride. It's been a crazy ride. I'm sure we'll probably get into some of the details and some of the fun stories of the podcast itself as it was coming up and as it was growing throughout the year and a half almost that we've been on at this. But before I bring them all on, I want to give a special word and shout out to the team that I have been able to work with throughout this whole process. And so, of course, first and foremost, Nick Tvrdy. He is going to be our guest today. Also, we'll talk about our sponsorship in a second, but first, our team. So Nick is the first person I called when I thought of the idea to do this thing, and he's been with the team since the beginning. Fantastic to have been working with Nick. So much of a history. I sold books with Nick all the way from the Nebraska days, and here we are today on episode 100 of this thing, and it's only growing. We're getting bigger. We're getting better, and we're learning so much every episode. So it's been such a blast. We have so many cool people coming up. We've had so many cool people in the lineup, and I'm just excited for that growth. So big shout out to Nick for being there. He actually is the person who handles our jockeys, which is a name that we call our sponsors. So all our partners deal with Nick, and they work with him to make sure that they are getting the most out of their investment into the podcast, as well as that we can keep continuing to provide value. So he'll probably talk about some parts about his role. But big shout out to him for sure. Then we also have Naomi Kaufman. So Naomi joined the team back in the fall. She is one of the funniest humans, most chill vibes that you'll ever meet. And of course, she's brought a lot of focus and organization to us because if you know Nick and you know myself, we are more wild ponies, and she was kind of the person that tamed the ponies. And so Naomi's been solid at doing this. She also handles, besides a bunch of little different things, she's kind of like the glue that holds it all together. But her main focus, of course, is booking and providing a welcoming environment to our guests. And she's done a great job at that. A lot of stuff that we would not be able to do without Naomi. So super thankful for her. And then, of course, last but not least, Heather Dutton. Heather joined the team most recently in January. So what she's going to do and what she's been doing in the back, in the background is helping us work with a couple of things. One, the stable, which is coming to you soon. This is going to be for our paid fans, and it's going to be an opportunity for people to join and pay to join and get some stuff in return. So we have a bunch of really cool merch, a bunch of really cool fun activities and competitions that we can have for people that don't necessarily involve the show itself, but more the happenings of the show, the growth of the show. And if you want to get involved in being able to help us grow it and being able to help us move it along and support us financially, you get a bunch of perks on the side. I'm sure we'll also talk about that maybe on the show. Who knows? This is going to be a themed episode. The themes currently include times that you've drank on the book field. Of course, maybe we can include some fun I got drunk at get back stories. Like one of my favorite times that I got drunk was at the St. Patrick's Day in GRS 2, which we'll talk about that for sure, probably. And then, of course, a big thank you to our partners. I want to bring them up right now. And of course, with that comes the reminder, the per episode reminder of Bizzler. That thing's coming up. You guys have a month and a half to get signed up, or you cannot go to Bizzler. And so if you need more instructions, there's always going to be the description on the episode below. in the description below is going to give you all the step-by-step instructions on how to get to Bizzler. Pretty simple though. You fill out a form with you and your roommate, $1,500 a person, August 15th through the 19th. It's going to be a big old networking party down in Cancun at the Riviera Maya. Very, very nice resort. Josh Martinez has been the person helping us get prepared for that from a logistical standpoint, but from a fitness standpoint, it's all been about Elevate Wellness. Of course, with Seth Hood and Zane Gallagher and Joe Ignis, these guys have been getting us into shape, and I am sore. I've had a couple of like tough workouts, and I've been biking to the gym now that it's getting nicer out here in Portland. No more rain, and so I am in pain right now. So it's okay though. I'm sure Naomi and Nick can share the same sentiment. We are also brought to you by Will Metscher. Will is a badass who helps people suck less, as Will would put it. But more importantly, Will has been the person that's been coaching us. He works with Southwestern Consulting, and he has been coaching us and giving us direction throughout this year since we started partnering with him to make sure that we can move in the right direction and continue to have a solid goal and a solid mindset when it comes to growing this podcast. And without him, a lot of things wouldn't have moved as quickly, especially this year. We've been growing very, very fast. And a lot of it is thanks to Will Metscher. So he is currently looking for people to help him coach others. Because right now, Will is so good at what he does that he's actually almost too good at what he does. He has so many people lined up that he's looking for other coaches to help him and kind of grow the team that he's working with to help more people change their lives and improve their lives. And so on that note, that is going to be it for now for our partners. And I'm going to bring up Naomi and Nick. Heather's going to join us here soon. She's putting her baby down. And these guys are joining us live all the way from Florida in Tampa. And here we go. Boom. What up, y'all?
What up, everybody? Happy 100th episode. This is pretty exciting.
Let's go,
we're coming
dude.
to you live from Parrish, Florida, which is just outside Tampa. It's like, a population of a few thousand, so it feels like I'm selling in the country right now, but not at all.
I passed on my drive here. I passed a town called LaBelle, which was a similar town in Missouri.
Oh, yeah?
And then from my turf in Missouri, and I was like, that's trippy.
Yeah, so...
I believe it's pronounced Misery.
Misery.
I actually still have a backpack in my car, and I was looking at some of that. I was like, I could.
Oh, no.
But I won't.
Please don't, right?
No, yeah.
Why not be listener all of a sudden? So anyway.
Question for you guys. Yeah, for sure. First of all, 100. Can you believe it, Nick? 100.
I want to shout you out, dude. Like, thank you for that phone call. I think about it often, dude. That phone call, I was in my place in Colorado in the kitchen. You called me. It was a quick phone call, but it turned into a huge, long 100-episode thing, man. Like, it's really cool to be here. I never forget that conversation. It's helping shape a really cool, awesome future in what we're building here. Awesome jockeys in the stable, right? We've got awesome sponsors. We've got a huge community that we're building of just the Ponytails Network. And so we're excited to keep growing this thing. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And thank you, Andres, for helping getting this whole thing started.
Yeah, man. It's just for
real though.
One of those. I was probably high or something. I don't know. Just one of those ideas being bored. I don't know. I'm just being bored, drunk. I don't know.
We were all lonely.
Listen, I am such an extrovert that this happened. This is how big of an extrovert I am. That we're 100 episodes in, and that's why this happened.
Oh yeah.
I gotta ask you, as you guys drove through though, let me ask you this. Maybe we can jump in this way. What do you guys think is better, turf in the country or turf in the city?
Country all the way.
Country.
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Names work way better. And like the stories and the crazy things. I remember driving through my third summer in New York, just down like along a pasture that was a farm that somebody owned. And there was a cow. I had a first year following my roommate, Tony Sanchez, shout out. And a cow literally croaked. It literally died and like keeled over as we're driving by in the country, just out of nowhere. Like, where the hell else does that happen? Nowhere but the country. And we've got a funny story, like, poor cow, I don't eat meat. So I hope that cow went to cow heaven, whatever, it doesn't matter. But like, that's why I love the country, is the crazy stories from stuff like that. And that's not even talking about the crazy people out there, you know?
I think that's why Andres probably likes the city better.
Oh, you think so? Well, I want to hear what you think. Why you think country's better, Naomi? Why is that?
Because it's got a bunch of weirdos. Like, and they all, and like, it's got a bunch of weirdos. That is exactly it. And blue collar workers, the best.
True
to
statement.
sell
They're real
goods
people.
to. The factory people, and then they all know each other, and then
Mhm.
it's referral game heaven. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, no, I think
What do you got?
country's better too. I think country's better
Oh,
too,
okay.
personally.
Okay.
We're all in agreement.
But the city though, does have like the high numbers.
Efficiency advantage. Absolutely.
I worked
So
city my whole first summer because I was a walker and I longboarded around. And after that first summer, I was like, I am never walking again. Thank you very much. I am going
That's
to be out
brutal.
in the country.
That's brutal. That's brutal. I speaking of cows, I know this isn't part of the theme, but I have to say this.
Please.
And this is actually could be a theme that we talk about later on, but the theme could be like, the craziest way you got someone to buy. And one of them was I told a guy that I could round up his cattle by making a cow sound.
I know this story.
And so I think it was my third summer, and I was in Pennsylvania, and he had like some cattle right there. You can see him. It's middle of the country, and you can see him. And I was like, I bet you I can bring those cows over if if I do that. You can buy a set, because I already been through the demo, and he was kind of like trying to like give me some objections, and I'm like, no, listen, bro,
Listen
okay.
here, bud.
So I was like, watch this. I go, and then the freaking cow. That was not a sound effect, folks. That's me. That's my mouth. And the cow.
That's me. That's my mouth.
The cows didn't move, and so I was like, and the cow still didn't want to move. And then tried the third time. I was like,
good at mooing.
Because he's from Grand Island,
Nebraska. Yeah.
yeah. And then the little calf moved, and then the mom moved, and then everybody else moved, and they all moved, and then
Action
he
caught
bought.
his reaction.
I love it.
Okay, so with this theme, because it's funny, just so everyone knows, we were like thought we had a theme earlier today, and then we were like, wait, but like we don't have that many stories from that. So we started shifting themes about an hour before the episode. So we're going with getting drunk at I thought that was a great one. Getting drunk at getbacks, like not even selling.
Some like scissor stories for real, but also like what else? What's on your mind?
Getbacks, like more serious getbacks.
Like GRS,
or drunk around book people.
Yo,
like, have you guys been around drunk with
So-
Dan Moore in the presence?
Yes. But what you've got a story, Naomi. I'll go after.
I
you,
was
but
just
what do
gonna
you
say
got?
my 21st birthday and my birthdays were always GRS1.
Okay, so January. That's what's up. My birthday was GRS one of the years. That was my first GRS.
Okay.
January 10th, baby. When's your birthday? We
January
should know
20th.
this. That's okay. So that's like never been the case for my GRSs that far back, but that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So you got Schwasty on your birthday.
I got Schwasty on my birthday. I got Schwasty on St. Patty's Day 4 years ago. Kayla Curtis sent me a Snapchat of like 4 years ago today, and it was like me. And...
Good times.
Yeah, that was good. I almost missed my flight that time.
I can imagine so.
Yeah, yeah. It was like 3 a.m. We were like bouncing at this place in Chicago, as one does at the Getbacks.
Chicago with the Green River.
With the Green River,
yeah.
Right? And it was St. Patty's, so we were wearing green.
Oh yeah.
And
having
my
a good
friend
time.
was like, what time is your flight? And I was like, like 6, and they're like, it's 3:30. So and they threw me in the Uber, they're like, we have to go now. And I'm like super wasted. It's like so wasted. Because I was also like, how old was I? 20? So I was still underage, like when it was cool to like drink, a lot of things, and so then I was like wasted. And he's just like he's just throwing like all these clothes in my suitcase, and he's just like, you have to get in the Uber. I was like, my phone's about to die. My makeup's over here. I don't know what to do. And then I got thrown in the Uber, and they're like, can you plug your phone in? And I had like chivapi. It's a Serbian dish, but I had that like with me because I wanted leftovers. And then I got like shipped to the airport with the chivapi, and I'm just like eating like these sticks of meat in the back of the car.
Yeah.
And then I get to the airport, and Cynthia Kim, shout out to Cynthia Kim, probably the coolest human being. But she's at the airport, and her eyebrows are green. I'm sorry, She's really
I'm
cute.
kidding.
She's
I'm
really
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Listen,
kidding.
her eyebrows were green.
Wow.
Yeah, I
Cynthia-
totally get that.
Cynthia's a wild card. I
Yeah,
know
she's
Cynthia.
a wild card for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
I get to the airport and I'm like in line, security line, like eating this food, and Cynthia turns around and I just see this chick with green eyebrows. And I'm like, what the frick?
Happy St. Patty's
And
Day.
she's like,
right?
you going on your flight too? And I was like, yep.
Yep,
I was like,
there you
you
go.
want to meet? She's like, yeah, sure.
That's
So, and I made it completely fine. I think I was hungover every time I flew home from the
There you go.
Jurazes.
Oh yeah.
And then this couple once, they're like, like I was just making conversation with her, building rapport as one does with the people next to them.
Yes.
Yeah.
The woman behind me, it was like her husband or whatever. She's like, you just like reek of alcohol. I was like, yeah, it was my 21st birthday. Like, what do you want from me? I was just telling you where the pretty water was in Florida. Like, I thought you were going on vacation. Like,
That's funny.
it was very strange. For sure.
Oh yeah. By the way,
Yeah.
Andres, how are we coming through on volume between the
I think
two of us?
you guys sound good. I mean, given the fact that you guys are a little further away from the mic, it's still pretty solid.
Okay, cool.
Just checking.
Do I sound okay?
You do.
As good as always.
Crispy.
Actually, you're looking better too. Every single time I spend time with this dude on a meeting, he's looking better every day. Go, baby.
I think.
Thanks, Seth and Zane.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Seth and Zane. No, for real though. Zane and I talked for an hour and a half today.
So, anyway,
Wow.
yeah,
Love him.
So, some other stories. I don't know, Andres, do you have any fun get back?
You said
stories,
you had a
anything
funny
like that?
get back story.
Yeah. Have you guys heard the Hannibal Buress bit where he talks about going to New Orleans?
No.
Basically, he says that New Orleans is great because you can like go and get something and then you can take it out into the street because they give it to you, like they give you alcohol in like disposable cups.
Oh yeah.
Actually, you might turn me down a little bit because the microphone is catching me and it's echoing a little bit. A little bit, but that's okay. Anyway, so you can do that in New Orleans. And so his joke is like you can walk into a bar and be like, give me a Jameson to go. Fuck this place. I don't even want to be here. Like, I'm gonna go take it on the street. There's a party over there. I can go with this, that's his whole bit. But anyway, I thought it was a joke because it's a comedy bit. No, it's true. So you can literally walk in and they give you disposable cups. And we're having GRS 2, which is in St. Patrick's Day.
It's actually happening right now.
Yeah, it's currently happening.
In NOLA.
Oh,
yeah.
They're all over.
Everybody.
Shout out to the current book folk. You're doing something impressive that I'm glad you're doing it. Keep it up. Build that character.
There'll be book people listening to this tomorrow on the flight back or whatever or whenever. Yeah. But anyway, so Josh Simmons and Austin Souders were rooming with me. I've never met them before. Yeah. Yeah. I never met him before. And it didn't get too crazy or anything. But this is a story where I learned one of my favorite catchphrases. And so I want to share it here. And so we were like, let's dress up. Let's dress up for this and go out and like look sharp, because there's like European people there too. Like it's legit. And we just start going down and bar hopping down Bourbon Street, just going nuts. And it's just I'm like 21 barely turned. And so I'm like still able to like really handle it without like having huge repercussions tomorrow. Yeah, we're going. And then all of a sudden we're just trashed. And I'm coming back and I'm like in my suit. And there's
what happened from the going? What was all? I want to know the going. What was that?
But I was just starting to get drunk. We're getting drunk, more drunk. And we get to this bar. And in New Orleans, there's bars and there's also strip clubs. So like it's like a mix and you don't know which is which. And sometimes it's like just a bar and then like you were there for an hour and then the next hour starts and it's when the strippers show up. This is really saucy for the Pony Tales podcast, but we get there and we're just looking around and we look up and all of a sudden they're like, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Susie Sparkles or whatever the hell her name was. And she comes out and it's like, we're like, what is going on? It was just bananas. And then we go back to the hotel and this is my phrase. This is the phrase that I took from this guy. He's a concierge. We were staying at the St. Monteleone or whatever. It's like a super fancy, right?
That's where they're at right now.
Yeah, that's where they're at. It's just a fancy hotel, super fancy hotel. And the
That's funny.
concierge guy is a black dude. Concierge guy is a black dude. And he's like, he sees it in my suit. He sees me in my suit. He goes, he opens the door and he's like, "Ooh, you sharp. Don't cut nobody." And I was like,
you say that all the time.
I was like, "Can I
You
borrow
said
that?" He
to
goes,
me today on our daily
"Baby, you could have it." And I was like,
Oh,
"Thanks." And that's all I remember from that night. Like that's very few things I remember from that night. That one caught fire.
that's pretty cool.
So like kind of browned out, but you were like,
Yeah.
nice. I'm not gonna cut anybody.
Yeah,
That's
I won't
awesome.
cut nobody. But then the next day I had to give a part, like a little quick 5-minute part, and I was still drunk. So that's how that story ends. But yeah,
Yeah,
drunk-
party hardy, work
drunk times.
harder, right? Work hard so you can party harder. Anyway,
That thing.
whatever
correct.
it is. My story is not from like a formal get back, but the not Frizzler, but like after Frizzler stopped being a thing in some director groups, that's Frozen Sizzler, you know, skiing in the mountains and everything. Alex Haar started Apex, and so Apex was amazing. It was, we rented out like a $3 million mansion in the Golden, Colorado like mountains leading up to like the super tall Rockies. And so we're just like in this beautiful mansion overlooking an amazing area. And they call it Golden Colorado for a reason, because in the morning, like we get there, we're all getting settled in, we smoke, we drink, we have a fun night getting in. The next morning, sunrise is at 6 a.m. and everything is just this golden hue throughout the beautiful Rocky Mountains. And so I'm a bookman. I'm up at 6:30, like, oh my gosh, the sunrise. And I'm like, everybody get up. And they're like, fuck you, Nick, I'm hungover. Like, no. And I'm just like, no, I'm a bookman. Like, and I'm like crazy at this point because schedule or whatever. But I'm like, this is beautiful. You need to see this. And so everybody's like, holy shit. And we just like, from that point on, I'm like, now we're doing tequila shots, tequila sunrise. And so we just get wasted
Oh
in the
my
beautiful
gosh.
mountains of Colorado. And like, we're taking, 5-10 shots, everybody, at that like span in the morning.
Was
It's
this one that Sarah
ridiculous.
went to?
Yes.
Okay.
And so like, it was an all out crazy, like going hard party. Like if you talk to anybody about Apex, it's only happened once. And I've called for it every single year since. Like, I'll show up as an alumni, right? Let's do this thing.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah, so shout out to Alex Haar. He invited me that after I went to Peru and Colombia with your brother Danny when he proposed to Aisha, Andre. So that was a really cool 3-week span coming from South America to Apex, and oh, beautiful times. Beautiful time.
Dude, Frizzler is nuts.
Oh,
I do have one more drunk story, but for my get back. But Naomi, it's your turn if you got one. Otherwise, well, actually, I got two more.
Speaking
But
of beer, I hear you open something over there.
Yeah.
Andres. Are we gonna do this right now, or are we gonna?
I was gonna wait for Heather, but I was gonna wait
You
for
wanna
Heather
do-
for you
What
guys.
if we drink some of it and then
I
Heather
want to
introduces
open it with Heather.
I do too,
because
but
she made this stuff.
I'm like,
Oh, we should wait for Heather. We should wait for Heather.
She did
We'll wait.
make it,
I'll wait
yeah.
for
If you
Heather.
haven't, paid any attention, Heather's been brewing a ton of awesome beer that we're excited to send to you in your home so you can enjoy it with us on the air. More about that later when Heather comes in. She's putting her son Wyatt to bed. But yes, we're excited to crack this thing open. It's months in the making. Heather's awesome for getting it all going. And do you want to save your beer for then, Andres? Or
Yes.
We're not going to stop.
I'm
yet,
being
but
extremely patient, let me tell you.
we have to. It's been so
I know,
delayed gratification, baby.
I know.
Oh yeah, Andres. Anyway,
I will.
what was
I
yours?
will wait. I will wait.
We're all waiting. We
It's
already
St.
decided
Patty's
that
Day.
before the episode. He just started touching it. I was like, now I'm thinking about it. You know, it's like if you didn't.
Dang.
Anyway, what's your story, Andres?
Okay, I got two unless Naomi's got one. Naomi's got one. Hold on, Naomi's got one. Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna ask a question. I could shift it to drinking on the Bookfield stories, unless you want to go to a get back one.
I got two get back ones. I got
Yeah.
two get back ones, and
Okay.
then and then just only one on the Bookfield, but it was more celebratory. It wasn't saucy.
Sure. Whatever you care to share with great excitement, and then maybe
Okay.
we could talk about other stories. Do we have other themes, or is this just the full episode for this theme for this episode?
Baby, we can do whatever we want. I'm
It's
down
St.
for
Patty's
whatever.
Day. You
It
know?
is St. Patty's
It
Day.
is St.
And it's our
Patty's Day.
show. It's our show. People. This is a change of pace for people, so they probably would appreciate this. And if they don't, well, they can, stop listening at this point. Please don't.
Yeah, right.
Because it means a lot to us that you don't. Okay, this one we should probably tag Brandon Q on this one because this is one of my favorite actually ever stories. We got
Please.
steadily buzzed. We weren't like wasted, but you know,
Yeah.
there's like the buzz, tipsy, and then wasted. But right before you get to wasted and drunk, like there's like awesome. We got awesome. And it was pretty cool. So you could say it was pretty awesome. But this was a key persons meeting. This was one key persons, or no, this was a VIP trip. VIP trip. Force did this thing called the VIP trip. I don't know if did you guys ever do VIP trip and
VIP trip?
Eagle Blitz?
No, we did not.
Oh, losers.
But I
So
know what
we did-
VIP is. I have friends that go to VIP, and I'm just like, oh, okay, you came to Florida, where I live. Okay.
Yeah, because
I live
Nebraska
where you vacation. That was
sucks.
Eagle Blitz's phrase.
Hey.
We live where you vacation.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right. Well, humble brag.
Nebraska.
we
That's
love being from Nebraska because anywhere we go is awesome. And so when we go back home, it's just going to work, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
go for it.
There's not much to be proud of from being from Nebraska, though. So I almost want to say I'm just from Portland because, yikes.
Hey,
but anyway,
hey, shout out Big Red or something like that.
yeah, they're kind of a little red right now. But anyway,
They're
so
real bad.
or kind of like pinkish, or orangish. Anyway, long story short, VIP trip was when you in the force and organization with Yvette and Grant, if you like hit like big numbers or whatever, then you got to go to this trip. So we went with it was like Aisha, Hannah Reesberg, Yvette, Grant,
Will Metscher.
and myself. Will Metscher was
Yeah. And Brandon Q, right?
Yeah, and Brandon Q. But so actually, this is a true story. Brandon's gonna hate me for saying this, but here's what happened. Brandon missed his flight, so Metscher's there, and I sit down and I start doing this like game called Mississippi River. Really crazy game, hard to explain. But long story short, I won like $200. I started out with 50, and I was up 200, and I go. This is actually a funnier story that I forgot. But when you're in Vegas, they let you drink for free if you're playing at the tables.
Oh,
So,
yeah, they do.
So we're drinking, and Metscher's there. Q's like, I don't want to go because I missed my flight. I'm gonna miss the whole day. I'm like, just get here tomorrow. We're only here for 4 days. Whatever, just
Right?
show up anyway.
Oh,
But we're
well,
with
the amount of times that book kids try to convince other book kids to just miss their flights. Just miss your flight. It's fine. Like,
I have a
no
story
big
about that
deal,
one.
like,
well,
I
no,
have a
he
story.
fly back
he
in,
had
like,
missed
3
his flight.
months.
Anyway.
He missed his flight and he didn't want to come anymore because it was going to be 3 days, or it was just like a quick weekend trip, and like so he was only going to be there for like a significant less amount of time. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, Will Metscher sits down. I'm like, dude, you got to play this game. I'm up $200. I started with 50. It's so good. And he goes, all right. And he goes and takes out $300 for the weekend. He's like, this is all I'm gambling with. So as soon as this is gone, I'm done. But we're gonna make it last. I'm like, good. This is like a slow burn. Dude loses $300 in 20 minutes, and he's done.
Damn.
So he didn't want to gamble anymore. By the time Brandon gets there, we start getting awesome, and we start playing blackjack, and we start winning, and we start winning, and we start winning, and it's just like it wouldn't stop. By the time we look up, it's 10:30 in the morning. No, we're like everyone that we're with, we don't even know where the hell they're at. We're just
It was
all
10:30 in
that
the
matters.
morning.
Yeah, I'm up
Oh,
like
you said in the
$800.
morning.
Yeah, we started at like so. Oh my gosh, there's this longer version of the story, but long story short, we went out. Somebody had friends with somebody who was friends with somebody who took us to the top of the Rio, and it was like the VIP club. And we were like just jammed. I got pictures from this, and and then we came back and it was midnight and everyone went to bed and we're like, let's just go gamble until we lose. And we kept winning. So it was like 10:30 in the morning. We gambled for 10 and a half straight hours. And I'm like, dude, I'm kind of hungry. We should go get some food. We went to Little Caesars, or to Caesar's Palace, not Little Caesars. And we like ate some breakfast
We're not.
and then we
sponsored by
kept
Little Caesars,
gambling. We're not, but we could be.
but we could be.
We kept drinking. And then we take like a 2-hour nap and then we go to the Win. And the Win's a different story because we've been doing like $5 hands. There, it's like $25 minimum. So like each chip, you're like, fuck. And this is what I remember from like this isn't like a dumb story because we got drunk. This was a just mind-blowing experience because it was me and Brandon and the dealer, and there was a guy in the corner, and that guy had like these special colored chips that were like black or something. Like they were like they just looked odd, like nothing the dealer had on the table except for like on one little row. And I'm like, hey, what are those? And they were he was putting stacks of them, and they were like $50,000 chips, or like $100,000 chips, or like $10,000 chips per hand, dude. We're over here shaking over the $25. Like, I hope I don't lose this hand. This dude just throw like, I'm like, oh my god, that's my student debt. You just won.
That's my student debt.
Like
Damn.
it's over. that was
Wow. That's when you realize there's bigger games people are playing. Quite literally. Damn.
Yeah.
And the dude was just like he was a functioning like drunk. We were all drunk. That's about it. And there's
We're
more
about
to
to
that
be.
story, but anyway, yeah, we're about to be as soon as Heather joins us, so we can start drinking some
Heather's
beer.
doing a quick last bit of motherly duties. We're being patient, right? I'm excited to try this beer. For those that don't know about it, do we want to plug the Clydesdales and all that real quick, or shall we wait for Heather?
We can let's wait for Heather. This is like
right.
she's like the stable master.
Right here. It's getting me antsy, right?
Yeah.
I shouldn't have brought the beer out. Anyway, so what
could have been a good podcast.
What I want to share is my first and really like my only memory of trying a drink on the book field, like while knocking.
That's funny. Do that. What was that like?
So let me tell you. So I was a first year, 19 years old. What a dipshit. Pardon my French here, but geez, I was.
Let's just say you were 21 for other reasons. Let's just say you were already 21.
Like, here's the build up to like how ridiculous.
Yes. You were a rookie.
Yeah. So I didn't know any better, even though I totally knew better. So sorry to people who are offended by this. I definitely knocked on a door in Massachusetts, rural, spread out, like the trees everywhere. Like you can't really see it one house from the next house because there's so many trees in between. And so like and it's kind of hilly, Massachusetts, beautiful country. And I go and knock on this door, and this guy is just like, yeah, come on in. I don't know what you're selling books, dude. Do you want a shot? Do you want a drink? And I'm just like, whoa, I was not expecting this. This is so abnormal. And he's like, yeah, kids books, whatever. I know you're working. And I'm trying to tell him like, I'm working on some kids books. And he's like, I don't care. You need to relax. You need to take a Jaeger bomb. And so he pours me a Red Bull.
Guy on?
I know, right?
So funny. This so book.
Rural Massachusetts gets weird. I'm telling you, you know. And so he's like, my wife handles all the educational stuff. You can talk to her later. Let's do this freaking Jaeger bomb. So he's wasted as fuck already. So he pours,
obviously,
and it's like 12 in the afternoon. So this is why it's so crazy. He pours me a Red Bull in a glass, and then he's like, you ever had one of these, bro? No, dude. This is awesome. I'm gonna give you your first Jaeger bomb. He pours a shot of Jaeger and drops it in this Red Bull. And he's like, here you go, bud, drink up. And I slam that thing because I guess I've had alcohol before at that point. But I like take that shot, and then I don't have caffeine while knocking on doors. And so it's a freaking Red Bull and a Jaeger shot. And so I'm just like, okay, thanks, man. This is awesome. And so he's like, all right, go have a great day. And I'm like, wait, pre-approach. And he's like, I don't know my neighbors.
Massachusetts, baby.
That's how it goes. It's like, I spent this extra time with you solely to get pre-approach.
At the very
and then they're like, I don't know my neighbors. I'm like, this is the only reason why I stood here for 5 more minutes.
Yeah, so to finish the story real quick, it was really hilarious because I'm like heading out there, and like I go out and I'm like, I feel it, right? You know, I've been sober for months, and like it's like midway through the summer, and I'm just like, whoa. And I remember just driving down rural Massachusetts roads and just being like, let's go. And I went and had a great rest of the day for sure. But that's like the most standout memory I've ever had of like books and drinking. That's the only thing that maybe I had like a beer or two along the way, but it was nothing like that. That was crazy. Shout out to that guy.
Shout out to that guy.
So do you have a story like that?
Yeah.
What you got?
I have a theory that when you drink with people, they buy books from you. At least if you're a manager. If you're a rookie, don't drink. They won't buy from you. You just have to keep working.
They won't even give you pre-approach.
Yeah, they won't even give you pre-approach. So just if you're a rookie, don't do that. But I think when you're like, oh, I can like sell books in my own fashion, and like a lot of them, a lot more of them at least. Then yeah, so my second summer, that was probably the time that I got most like, whoa, like whoops, like my second summer was crazy. It was
Where
fun.
was it? Tell us.
Wisconsin.
Cool.
And It's funny because there are Wisconsin brews beers that you can only buy in Wisconsin.
Yes,
like
like
Spotted Cow.
Spotted Cow.
And
yes.
like other ones, right? So my host daddy's just like got these beers, right? And like I was me, Andrea Withington, shout out to my BFF. And then a rookie, Maddie Fector. And so it was like 2 Beacon tracks that both of us are like just like goofs and like and Maddie. But he just like would bring down beer and like Maddie's like in the shower and he's like, would you guys like some of these? And we're like, yes, thank you. We appreciate it. Andrea's like, well, Amy used to drink a glass of wine while doing stats last year, so I'm gonna drink this beer. And so I have a picture of Drea on a Sunday, like reading a book with this hat that I got from a trucker, and it has a light on the inside. It's a camo hat, and you click it, and it like beams, which is fun for late night. Yeah, for late night knocking though. You're like, like hopping through the darkness.
Jesus. Oh my god.
You know how it goes, late night knocking when you're hopping through the darkness. Because like sometimes you don't want to be seen until you're like at the door. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So because you're like, I'm not trying to be a creep, but it's like 10 p.m. and really late. Let me make it to the door first.
So you got a picture of, hey, we have a
Heather.
Wait, do you want to? Are you done? Do you want to finish the story?
We can pause.
Okay.
I mean, we just paused in conversation, so we can just pause.
All right, Dremel, everybody. I guess you can just come on in, please. We've been waiting for you.
Girl, I do want to document this.
Oh, cool. All right.
Show you guys on air with the beer.
Yeah, we're creators. Let's do
Look
this.
at this.
Something
Say
like that.
cheese.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, baby. This is great.
So please, we don't know what we're drinking yet because it's all jumbled up flavor-wise.
No. So the gold ones are the
gold. Okay.
Yeah, gold or apple ciders, and then the red caps are the Chinook Ipa.
Chinook IPAs.
So
awesome.
tell everyone about the beer.
For those who don't know Heather, shout out to this chick. Go listen to her episode. It's a great episode. She did it from this exact spot. Talks about, awesome summers in the book field. She's into psychology right now, getting a master's, right?
Yep,
and all that good stuff. Yeah, if you're coming from a rough summer, she'll be your psychologist, your counselor, right? She'll help you unpack some.
We should figure out how to make that a business. Part of the podcast, sir. That should be. You know what that would be?
Right now,
that would be like $100 a month for like the Clydesdales. Like the ones that pay over 100, they get
if you need
counseling.
If you need counseling, $100 a month.
So yes. So Heather, right here, we're excited to have you running part of this business with the beer.
Yeah.
So please tell everybody what you've been up to, what the significance of this stuff is. Like maybe unveil a little of like why you're doing this and what you hope to accomplish with it and how people can get it.
But before you do that, let's do a cheers. Let's do a cheers.
Oh yes, let's crack this stuff open.
Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yes, Happy St. Patty's Day.
Yeah, we're dropping a beer. Here we are.
Cheers.
Dropping it.
Cheers.
And
the Ponytails podcast beer. Cheer, y'all.
The best podcast, boss man.
I don't. That's probably Joe Rogan or something.
Cool. So welcome.
We're not sponsored by Joe Rogan.
But we could be. Dude, what if we got Joe Rogan to sponsor us? He'd be our first.
He would probably just like maybe want to hang out. Maybe.
Yeah, right. So anyway, Heather, what do you have to share about the beer?
All right. So, right now this is the cider.
Yeah,
so
it's really
cool.
good.
Apple cider. Do you like it?
I do like it.
Okay, cool. It's more sweet. Sorry, that's your butt.
That's okay.
It's more sweet than I even like, but I figured for apple, like you can't go wrong. I started out as a hobby completely, probably because I was like a freshman in college and wanted to not have to ask people that were 21 to buy me beer.
Yo, you were brewing yourself beer underage?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I got it as like a kit for like now ex-boyfriend, obviously. And I was like, look, this is something that will be so cool for you. And like I ended up doing all of it. And he was like, that's cool. And actually was like the one who was like, yeah, like let's do this.
Heather was like, I'm gonna have you buy all the things and you make the beer.
Yeah.
No, I bought it and then I gave it as a gift to make, and then I made it myself.
That's awesome.
That's more Heather like. Yeah.
So a hobby
Yep.
for like what? How many years now you've been brewing beer?
Oh, well, like a couple, and then I stopped for like a hiatus because
Okay.
I got back into became a mom,
Yes.
and then I
What?
did. I know. I don't know if you heard, but I have a baby.
Shout out.
Shout out. Mr.
Sound asleep.
He is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't hear anything back there.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect. Shout out.
And so then, and I did Southwestern and, full-time recruiting for a while. So I kind of got out of it. And then I finished, I did a second degree in psychology. And then I really didn't have time because I was a new mom and finishing this degree. And I had this all this recipe pieces, and I was just staring at them, writing a thesis. And I was like, oh, when I get my break, I'm going to finally get back into my hobby. And then as I did literally writing my thesis, I was literally my last semester, because I wrote my thesis before I did that episode with you guys.
Right.
And then that's how we kind of got talking about it. And then I was like, well, I actually, I brew beer, but just for fun. It's a hobby. And then it kind of created this whole other segment of the Ponytails podcast, where now I am brewing beer specifically for you guys to send out to your Clydesdale members for your top tier. So that's premiering really soon, perhaps this week, I think.
We're dropping it. If you want to message us to get some pre-orders in,
we're definitely taking pre-orders.
Yeah,
we're definitely
some
taking
beer.
pre-orders, and our website will be up and running.
Yeah. So it's cool because you guys gave me a reason.
Can order there.
Yeah. You guys gave me a reason to go back into it. So I'm researching my next academic steps, but taking a nice hiatus from the academic field and doing stuff I love, like brewing beer. And now it's kind of my hobby's become this cool side hustle. I think with you guys.
Yeah, we're slinging some units, right?
Yeah.
So speaking of units, right? What I've loved about working with Heather is the creativity that comes from having a little delivery, why am I blanking on the word? But a care package. Geez, we're calling it a trough box
with the tea on the end.
Yes, no tea on the end. It's trough box. That's what ponies eat out of, and that's what you're gonna drink out of. Enjoy your delicious. This is a really good beer, by the way. Cool. This was made where in your house? Just in the spare room, or?
No, the master bedroom has completely been converted into the brewery room. So we don't even go in there except for beer things.
Whoa! So you sleep in your own guest bedroom,
which is according to code, which is according to code and regulation under the federal law and the state of Florida.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot involved there. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've Heather and I have been on a journey to figure out how to legally and compliantly bootleg alcohol. So it's been a journey. We're still on it, which is why pre-orders are a thing right now. But coming to you soon, the Ponytails Podcast Brew.
Yes,
it's really good.
So
I'm glad you guys like
hell
it.
yeah.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Absolutely.
I don't drink beer a lot, so it's quite crazy.
I can't wait to. I haven't got mine. I haven't got mine yet, and it's. I can't wait to taste it whenever I do get to taste it. That'll be a good time. But hell yeah, welcome Heather. We're telling. We were in the middle of a story with Naomi.
We were.
We can finish the story.
It was, where
tell
were
us.
we? Tiptoeing through the dark. What was before
So
that though?
you took a picture. You took a picture of your roommate, right?
Oh, of Drea. She's
Drea,
wearing this hat with a little light on it. I just liked it for tiptoeing through the dark on the book field. That's what I'm doing.
To catch people up on Naomi's story, it was the story of your host dad giving you beers, and so you took a picture of her, and she had a book and was drinking a beer.
She had a book with the beer sitting right here. She looked like an old man. She had the book, and she was like this with the hat on. She was reading. She's like, yeah. This was on the book field because my host dad was like, "Would you like beer?" And we're like, "Yeah, thank you. We appreciate it." So that dad, and then there was this dad on the book field. Actually, one day I sold books, a stack of books, for the sole reason, for the sole reason that I was wearing flamingo socks. And it also involves alcohol.
Okay.
I will tell it now.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, well, yes.
So I always wore flamingo socks on Fridays, as one does, because Flamingo Friday. Oh my gosh, wait! I have my flamingo socks with me now. I'll get those in a second, but they're great. So I brought them for the episode. They're green too.
Should I get them for you?
What?
Should I get them for you?
I mean, I'll grab them in a second. But so I was wearing my flamingo socks on a Friday. And it was funny because this house like ghosted me before because like it was raining the first time I went there. So like, but I definitely saw like, you know how you can see the blind and they're like HBHing you. For those of you who don't know, HBH means home but hiding. So they were HBHing me and I was like, okay, whatever, on to the next house. And then I go back there, I think this was a Saturday, and I went into the garage door this time. Right. And so I was like, haha, they can't peek out the windows, so they have to answer the door. So then gotcha, bitch. So then they come out and I demo like the Advantage books to the mom and she's like, and then she sends the dad out. And then I demo it again and he's like, nah. And I was like, all right. So then I was like, because I already in my head, I was like, well, they're not borrowers because they HBH'd me the other day. Like, I just had to cross you off. Like, so I put it back in my backpack. I'm like, all right, like, see ya. He's like, but I like your socks. And I was like, do you know why flamingos are pink?
Oh!
And then he was like, no. And then I was like, well, check this out. And then he was like, now those are the shit. And then I was like, well, want to buy some of these ones? And he goes, fuck it. Yeah. So he bought it because of my socks. And then after, they were telling me how they were ghosting me the other day. And I was like, oh, yes, I'm aware. Because, you know, like after they buy, and you're like,
you tell them everything.
You all are like, oh, we thought you were a crazy person. And I'm like, nope, just regular college student. And they're like, yeah, we were ghosting you the other day. Do you want something to drink though? And I was like, yeah. They're like, yeah, the rumors are going around that like there's this gypsy selling books. And like that was my bad PR my second summer. Yeah. Was that I was a gypsy. Yeah. And so
there could be worse things.
What? There could be worse things. Absolutely. But yeah, then they gave me I kind of told you this part of the story. So then they gave me like a rock star, I guess. I think that's the energy drink. And put like 3 or 4 shots of just I don't know.
Oh no. So you got what I got, but times 3.
Yeah. So I'm like talking, I'm like, thank you, this is good. I appreciate it. I was like, okay, don't drink too much. And I was like, I'll just take it to go with me. You know, because it's like when people give you things on the book field, you show appreciation and you take it, right? So, because like they're giving things to you out of the kindness of their heart. So you're
faith and humanity restored.
Exactly. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll take it. Can you put it in a to-go cup? Like, even though it's kind of illegal.
Can you put it in my water bottle, please?
And
Naomi's out there, Bridget. You remember my house?
It was just like gravy though, so I had to go. But the kicker is the next house to go to was this homeschooled mom. That was like 4 houses down. I was like, and I'm like driving in my car and I kind of like go like this a little bit, and I'm like, oh, I'm slightly buzzed. And I take my drink and I put it down, and I'm like, all right, you haven't drank in 2 months, put this down. And so then I'm like, oh no, I'm going to the homeschooled family's house. Oh frick. And so I was like, oh geez, like. Okay, communicate, speak slowly, smile, don't get too close so they can smell your breath. Like everything's fine. So I pull in and she's like, she comes out in her like, you know, homeschool mom clothes. And I was like, or like the jean skirt.
It's a garb. It's a garb.
Smelling like essential oils, right? So yeah, so she comes out and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, like we have dinner guests over. So she was completely blowing me off. But in my head, I was like, thank God, because I shouldn't be talking to you in the state that I'm in. So I'm like, that's fine. I'll see you never. That's cool. I just crossed her off. I was like, no, we're just not gonna.
A drunk door-to-door
nah. So I wouldn't say I was drunk.
Tipsy.
It was buzz. Enough to know that I was to put my drink down.
aggressively buzzed.
Yeah.
Aggressively buzzed, for sure.
Oh yeah. That's funny. Heather, do you have any stories from the book field involving generous gifts from people you knocked on the door of?
No.
Okay, that's
No
fine.
one ever.
Yeah, Andres doesn't have any. You don't have any.
I have-
Naomi and
I have
a
one.
little extra fun. You have
He
one?
does have one.
Actually,
Oh,
I have
please.
two. I have two.
Oh,
One
please.
was with
nice.
Tanner
You didn't have
Everson.
any.
Okay, one's a short one. I had a first year. I was already 21. He turned 21 on, I think it's May 21st that year. Like, so the reason I still remember his birthday is because
Golden birthday.
it was like the first few weeks, like the end of the third week of the summer,
Oh,
right,
wow,
or
that's
whatever, one of
early.
the tougher weeks. He turns 21 on the Saturday. You got to take the first year out.
And it's
You know
his
what I'm
golden
saying? Like,
birthday.
come on,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
this
tell
other
us.
one I don't think I would ever tell. That one's a short one, but this other one I didn't think I was ever gonna tell. But you know what? Fuck it, y'all.
Ponytails, here's all. So-
Cheers.
Cheers.
God, I never thought I was gonna tell this story. This is the only. So I was off schedule a lot my third summer. I wasn't as really much off schedule off my fourth summer. But the very first time I got off schedule was my second summer. And it was like I think twice that I did that I got off schedule. This is the only time I drank in the on the book. It was like a Wednesday, and it was a place in Massachusetts, in near Andover. But this is like a crazy fucking story. Like to me, it was crazy at the time. I've never told anybody this. Only
No.
God. Okay, whatever.
Wow, really?
So-
Not one human being. Hold on.
No, nobody knows this.
Nobody
this.
knows this?
No,
That's
nobody
cool.
knows this.
I'm excited to know
Let's
this
hear the sauce.
right now.
Let's go.
Nobody knows this except for one person because it involved them in the story. But okay, so fuck it. Okay, whatever. We're being
You can
real.
do
It's
it.
and it's fine.
Cool
Nobody's
set.
gonna
You
fucking judge me.
already like
Uncensored.
said that you would.
Yeah. Okay, so I got kicked out of a town, Middleton, and it was like 8 p.m. I got the cops called me. It was the second time I gotten kicked out of a town, and it was the only second time I had ever gotten kicked out of a town ever. And so I was like, I'm not gonna go to a new town. Like, this is stupid. I can still hear myself echoing, so turn me down a little bit more. But I was like, screw it. I'm just gonna go to a bar. Now, at the time, I had a fake ID that Zach Riesberg had gotten me from a guy that looked just like me. I didn't even have 20. I wasn't even 21 yet, but I still had this fake ID, and it worked at Get Backs. So I was like,
Nice.
all right, this will probably work in Massachusetts. They didn't even card me anyway. But I sit down and I think the Blackhawks were playing, so everything was like nobody. It was one of those nights where nobody was home because the Blackhawks were in the Stanley Cup Finals, and like
They
I
were
got
playing
kicked
against
out of a
the Bruins.
town.
It was the
Yeah.
Boston Bruins. I remember that summer.
Yeah, the Blackhawks. It was your first summer. Yeah, Blackhawks were playing the Bruins, and I was like on the outskirts of Boston. Like nobody was coming home. People that were coming to the door, and that's why I got kicked out because somebody called the cops on me because they're like, "This fucking asshole is knocking during like the game."
Yeah,
I'm like-
exactly. Oh, I remember
During
those.
the game.
I remember those exact days in history. This is great.
And
Have you guys
Boston
told me
people
the
are
World
like
Cup?
hardcore.
Oh, Andres has, yeah. Okay.
This is
Yeah, well, oh wait, I got drunk. I got drunk with Manny my third summer too, but that's a different
okay.
story.
Oh,
The
thank
story
you.
is over. The
You said
story is
World
over.
Cup. You said World Cup, and I thought about it. Anyway, so long story
Let's
short,
finish
the
your story.
Stanley Cup. This is crazy. So I go to a bar. I'm like, I'm just gonna watch this game because I don't even watch hockey. But screw this, I'm not gonna go to another door. So I get there and I start drinking some beer. I order some wings, and this girl from Boston sits next to me with her friend. Now, the girl that sits next to me, she's really cute, and I'm not gonna say her last name. Her name's Virginia, and we just hit it off. I'm singles, and I'm book goggles. I haven't seen a human being like and you're like, and she's really attractive, and I'm like, all right, like, and she's into me. She's like, so where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Nebraska. She starts, that's interesting to her for some reason. I start telling her what I'm doing. She's like, you work 80 hours a week going door to door. What kind of books? I'm like,
While
they're
you
like-
were drinking beer.
and I'm drinking. I'm like, they're like kids books, man. I don't even know.
I
So,
don't even know.
so we get done. And it's like 9:30, and I'm like, I should probably go back and do a stat call, and and so, and then she goes, hey, I don't know what you're doing, but we're going to this other place, and there's like dancing. Do you want to come?
I know how
And I'm
much you like dancing.
I will join you in like 45 minutes. And so she didn't think I was gonna show up. She gave me her phone number. I did my stat calls, did the whole thing, and then I was like,
Oh
fuck
my
it,
God.
I'm going to this place. And
This is
so
fun.
I go to this place, we start dancing, bro. Swear to you, we're like making out. It's like a club scene, and it's like we're just doing the thing. I'm not drunk at this point because I needed to drive home, but I was like, woo, we start kissing and all this stuff. And she was like, let's do this again tomorrow. I'm like, no, this is gonna be the only time I do this. But so whatever you want to do, we gotta do this right now. And she's
Oh,
like,
man.
okay. So we go back to the parking lot, I'm not gonna say what base we got to, just out of respect for Fenway Park. But it was a great night. And then I drove home. I got home at like 1:30. Nobody even noticed because all the first years were already in bed. And I just told Danny and Manny that I got home at like 11:30 after it was already bedtime because I was knocking late.
Dude, legendary.
Hey, she might have been really cute.
legendary.
She might have been really cute, but truth be told, she's only half as cute as Bree. Shout out to
Yeah, my wife is
Oh, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah.
I
Oh,
would
yeah.
love for you to see her now and be like, oh, I thought she
Oh,
was cute.
oh,
With
goggles.
both
Oh.
Goggles, bro.
Oh no. Listen to this. So we kept in touch. We kept in
Oh.
touch after. Yeah.
I'm
Because
sure you did. I would have.
yeah, a lot of stuff was happening. There was like really weird romantic feelings that summer, and it was towards like the end of that. It seemed like it was over with my romantic interest at the time. So I was like in the right spot for it, and I didn't like. I think I just needed it, and also like we kept in touch. We stopped in touch because we unfollowed each other on social media after like a year, but for a while there, like it was in book goggles.
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
It was legit.
You updated.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I saw,
Mhm. Well, good stuff.
So
Dude, that is.
yeah, I've never told that story before. Nobody knows the first time
that
anybody's
is
ever heard that.
Wow.
Now
Yeah,
I can't
the
edit it.
crazy connections that we have. Like I remember, a roommate who's getting married in Sarasota, which is 30 minutes from here, and like there was nothing of that sort, nothing at all like that. But like being in touch with someone, like my roommate knocked on a door where I was following him that day because I was injured my second summer and had to like go home early. So I was like working with my roommate for that last week, literally just following him and sitting in his car while I sat there injured with a really bad sciatic pain. And I went in to actually watch the sit down, and like the connection that we made with like the teenager who just graduated high school, like she got really depressed and that kind of stuff. Anyway, nothing of the sort of the same story, but like the connection of like staying in touch through social media over the years. I'm thankful we had like our Facebook pages. I don't know if y'all care to talk about that stuff, but there's not really anything having to do with beer in those cases. But
Well, this one mom that I drank a glass of wine with, she didn't buy because I was a rookie. So they only buy from you if you drink and you're a manager. But if you're a rookie and you drink with somebody, you're just hopeless. You're like, it's just hopeless. So yeah, but we're still friends on Facebook.
there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
We were messaging each other the other
Yeah,
day.
straight up.
Like,
Y'all
confirm. Like,
y'all ever stay in touch with those customers? That's crazy.
Absolutely.
That's hilarious.
well, she
Oh
didn't-
yeah.
Yeah.
We just drank a glass of wine together.
There you go.
Back to drinking.
What
So
was her
she's
name?
some kind of buyer.
What was her name?
Jen.
Jen. Shout out Jen.
Shout out to Jen.
Shout out Amber, the chick that I was just mentioning. So
Yeah, for sure. Oh,
Shout out
man.
to Amber.
Do you have any drunk get back stories? Because we actually started with those. Well, we know you got those.
What do we got?
We know you got those.
Frizzler and
My
Apex.
21st birthday.
Yeah, catching you up on the stories here. Tell
Yeah.
you what's fair game. So, do you have any that come to mind initially?
I don't know. I guess the first thing, it's not that cool or anything, but the first time I realized how fun it was to drink beer and snowboard at the same time was on like a
Frizzler, frozen sizzler. type
yeah,
of deal?
we weren't cool enough to like call it to dub it that, but it was just like a get back in the mountains with snow kind of thing.
Where were you at?
I think maybe Virginia.
Oh,
Oh.
we go to
Speaking of
Colorado.
Virginia,
Yeah. Smoky Mountains of sorts. That's not Smoky Mountain, but it's Appalachia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was like the first time I was like, oh wow, like drinking beer and snowboarding is really fun.
Wait till you
Yeah.
try, wait till you try
Really
Bloody
fun.
Marys. Bloody Marys while skiing is perfect. But go ahead.
I don't know.
And
That's
beer,
like
you
pulling
feel
out.
like loosey goosey or with it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you board better. You're like in
Mhm.
tune with the snow. Like it feels good.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you're just like
Absolutely.
vibing with nature. And that was the first time I was like, this is so cool. That's like the only thing I can think of right now.
Sizzler?
Sizzler.
Sizzler stories.
Yeah, the Sizzler.
We're talking Sizzler
Are we
stories.
really gonna merge into the Sizzler story?
Oh, we're doing it. We're doing it. Full
I
send.
mean,
If we're talking about drinking at Get Back,
just sometime when Heather was intoxicated while being a book human.
Book person.
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. You guys go first. I'll think of some. It'll inspire some stories.
So
Versions of.
Yeah,
we
this
also
is
threw out the and then they bought stories as well.
Yes.
So,
yes.
you know, if you
so
have one
we've
of
got
those as
plenty
well.
of theme options here, stories to pull from a hat, right? I love, whose line is it anyway, right? But that's a skit they do. Anyway, Sizzler, right? We're gonna bring up some memories so that y'all can get excited for Bizzler, right? So August 15th through 19th, $1,500, flights included. Cool. So
Good job, Nick.
Good
Sizzler,
job.
Cancun. Talk about crazy when like I'd
like
never
it.
gone clubbing in my life. I'd never gone clubbing in my life until I went to Cancun, Mexico, right?
Wow,
And
never?
no, I'm from Nebraska. We don't even have clubs in Omaha. Like maybe like. So anyway, young Nick is just like going to Sizzler and like going to all these different crazy themed bars. Like there's that cow bar in
Yeah.
Cancun. What's that one called? Do you remember? It's
where
like
it,
With the swing?
swings?
yeah. And so they had like
totally.
multiple levels, and like I remember that was like the first night out, and we're like going hard. And Christy Skalski's like, "What? This is your first Sizzler? Like, go hard, let's go!" Shout out Christy.
Was it Cancun? I thought we were in PV. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, so that was my first Sizzler. So I'll just admit that it took me till my third summer to hit Sizzler, because my first summer I sold like 1,300 units. Second summer I injured myself, left early, but I was persistent as fuck, and I made it to Sizzler that third summer. Real proud of myself because I didn't give up, but also just
Way
like
to go,
whatever.
Nick.
Wish I went to more Sizzlers.
That's what we got.
That's why
Bizzler
we're making
for.
Bizzler. And so as I'm partying at Sizzler, like just getting crazy fucked up, it's just, and you like through the group endurance of everybody, you're just like, I'm gonna keep going, let's keep going, right? And then there's like the next night at like some crazy bar, and there's like crazy wet t-shirt contests and all this crazy stuff. It's like, what the heck, I've never done anything like this. And then there's of course like Coco Bongo and everything, but gosh,
Coco Bongo.
the rules of Sizzler are crazy when people are like, you gotta have 2 drinks in your hand. I'm like, no thank you. But yeah.
No, but thank you.
Exactly.
I'm like, I have 2 waters in my hand all the time at Sizzler. I'm like, I like this.
Hydrate or dihydrate, right? So
It's for real.
the Oasis in Cancun, the Oasis Resort. Oasis loves you. I remember that.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, you remember that one? That was a good one.
Oasis.
So, gosh, Beach Olympics, slosh ball, like that's just like drinking hardcore mode. It's like I can't just pick one story because they're all like bleeding into each other, and
We should
creating
explain
crazy
slosh
moments.
ball.
Slosh ball. We're doing slosh ball like what? The Thursday of Sizzler or Bizzler? I'm sorry.
The last day of Bizzler.
The last day
The
of
last
Bizzler.
full day of Bizzler.
So yeah, get your teams ready. I remember that first Sizzler mine, our campus, I believe our campus won. Yeah, we totally won. Nebraska won that Sizzler. And it was
The Forest
pretty
Boys got a
freaking-
good strategy now.
Oh,
They all
yeah?
get you at one time. They pick one target and they all hold on to the balls, and then they rush the one person at a time. And they pick off
so
the
they pick off one
strongest
by one.
people. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So
Yeah. They got it going on now. I'm
the
just
force
like,
is strong. Yes, that's awesome.
I think TD won.
Okay.
Though last year.
Shout out TD, right? I guess you're not
Yeah.
too
Ooh.
big about TD.
Yeah.
She's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're-
I have to know, like, I was a gunslinger,
Gunslinger.
and then
Access, yeah.
like TD was like after weed, and I'm a gunslinger.
There you go. Yeah.
Shout out to my people, you know who you are.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Heck yeah. Absolutely. So
The
yeah,
s-
there's so many crazy stories. What are
Yeah.
some standout moments? Andres, do you have any from
Um,
Sizzler?
I mean, yes, some of them I promise I would never tell.
Except on a
Um,
beer on a podcast, right?
No.
excuse me, no, I gotta behave. Yeah, there's some. I was sworn to secrecy on some of these, so I gotta.
Anywho,
take these.
what are
But
some stories you can tell, please?
the one I think I've told this on the podcast before, but I got drunk on the airplane back with the guy because I sat next to the guy he married a woman whose dad came up with a patent for the carton of milk that opens and spout.
Oh, okay.
So, like,
wow.
This dude created that. He had a daughter, married this guy. This guy was next to me in the plane. So I was like, "Hey,
So the
what are you doing?"
son-in-law of a milk carton man.
Yes, I got upgraded to first class for some reason, and you know how it happens sometimes. And so the guy was sitting there, and he's like, "Are you drinking?" And I just started talking to the dude, and he liked me, and he's like, "Here, I'll get us drinks." And I was like, "Okay." And so we got the whole ride just got sloshed. He must have dropped like $100 on alcohol because that's not that much alcohol, but it's expensive on an airplane. And
Yeah.
so, but yeah, man, it was a cool dude. And the guy's like, every time I meet a stranger that I'm drinking with on Southwestern things, they're like, "You guys did what?"
Yeah.
so it was like- Because he's like, "Why are you in Mexico?" And I was like, "I want a trip." He goes, "Oh, your company?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's just my internship." And he's like, "What do you do?" And he's like, "What kind of internship?" And I was like, "Well, we sell books door to door." He goes, "Books door to door." I'm like, "Yeah, just like that." And he goes,
That's what I said.
"What kind of books?" You know, they always ask typical questions. You know, what kind of books. And the more you explain, it's like a peeling an onion. It's like fucking
Right.
another layer. And then you do it 85 hours, 85 hours, and then you go. It's hot. It's hot. And they tell you know a lot. They tell you know a lot. You ever get a gun on you? Yep. Like, all the things, right? Like by that time, he's like, another round. And he just
Another round.
poured
Waiting.
tequila with orange juice, and we were like,
Wow.
by the time we landed back in Dallas, I was going through customs like just fucking yeah. It was great.
Dude, that's awesome. Why was he in Mexico? Do you remember? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously he's loaded through his
He
life.
was. I mean, he just so they got a bunch of money from selling the patent, right? From selling like the
Yeah.
spout, and like literally his wife, I think, then ran the company now, or runs a bunch of other companies, and so he just like while she's like gone to a certain thing, he'll like go travel, and just he was just happened to be in Mexico for the week, like
That's
just
awesome.
chilling. The people you
Nice.
meet on airplane rides, man. That was my favorite part of a Southwestern is just traveling and going to airports and just like people watching. That was so fun.
I love airports. I
Mhm.
love
Yeah,
airports.
just-
now.
They're
No,
very
It's
Yeah.
wild because you're like, wow, this person's just like you see the whole gambit of like society. If you need like a sample size or a sample of like society, you could just go to an airport because you get it. I mean, everybody's at an airport. Some people are like, this person's going to a funeral. This person's going to a wedding. Same thing. This person's going to like meet their nephew. This person's going to travel for work. This one's dressed to the nines. This one just is barely got
Kinda
dressed.
cool.
like
Love
Cool
it.
place.
just
You
got
have
out
every
of
type
bed.
of human being there.
I went to the Tampa
Yeah.
airport today to drop off my roommate who's flew to GRS2. Shout out Bryce. And that's a really well built airport because like they have one
Mhm.
mistake where it like says that this is the departure lane and it kind of points to the right and there's like a split and it meant the right of the split to the left. And so it's like really frustrating. I missed it, but I was able to circle around in like 2 minutes and then take him right back to where I was going. We got a cat in the house.
Yeah.
What's up? But yeah, airports are cool. I love airports. Definitely
Yeah.
a great place to meet a lot of people. So
The travel is good, man. The travel's good. I wanted to give a quick shout out to some of our partners really quick, and I also make an announcement on our newest sponsor.
yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I know you talked about Greta yesterday, but it's worth mentioning her, but and
please.
how awesome that is. But yeah. So of course, you know, one of our oldest, not by age, but by been with us for the longest, is the one and only Mr. Pat Roach with Southwestern Real Estate. If you're listening to this, it doesn't matter when you're listening to this, especially if you're a book person. Perk your ears for a sec. Let me have your attention, please, to this opportunity. So Pat is started Southwestern Real Estate in 2007, and they have grown massively. They're in 40 different states now, and we've had multiple. I think we've had 9. I counted the other day. We had 9 guests
Yeah.
that's 10% of our guests almost. That's 11% of our
Bill
guests.
Zolke, Grant Greeter, Sarah and Tim Goss, Meredith Gardner, Chris Q. Who else?
I
I
feel
know
like
there's
there's a
two
couple.
more.
Pat himself, right?
Yeah. We love Pat so much. That's
Yeah,
a great
yeah.
episode.
That was a great episode. But yeah, but they all mentioned all these really amazing aspects of working with this company. So if this sounds like you, if this check mark sounds like you, make sure you reach out to us. You're a fan of HGTV, or really just this is a funny way of saying if you're a fan of like the real estate market, you're a fan of real estate, you're keeping up with all things real estate, you're wanting flexible hours, you're wanting to prioritize the things that are important to you, you love the culture that was at Southwestern, at least the positive things that were in Southwestern, and you kind of miss that company and that group of people that felt like family pushing you forward, then it sounds like that could be a very good spot to land for you, because that is exactly what the environment is there. That's not like just to say that, that's just because all our guests have said that. I mean, Grant talked about how he's able to talk and hang out with his family whenever he wants and still make a really good living out of it. Phil Zolke was telling us about how he didn't know anything about real estate, but the barrier to entry is really tough if you're on your own. But with the way they do it, it's really easy because it's just a really good set of like step-by-step outline to how to succeed. Meredith was telling us that the hours were super flexible so that she could like transition into it really, really well. Grant again talked about how he was able to open up a new state. So even if you're not in the 14 states that they operate in, make sure you join because they can make it happen for you. And then so that's Southwestern Real Estate. We can get you an interview with Pat one-on-one automatically, especially if you sold books. And then of course we are brought to you by
Martine and Lukasz.
You go ahead, Nick. You get on with it. You get on with it. You get on with it, Nick.
Yeah, so our favorite DJs, our favorite double jockeys, disc jockeys, and ponytails jockeys, Martine and Lukasz, have been selling books for the last number of years, and this past summer they did so well. They're just like, hey, we've got like time that we can start our own little side hustle, and so they bought a ton of really great equipment. They're really set up to be really awesome quality DJs. And so they just did Andres' wedding. That must have been super awesome because they were able to play to the Colombians and to the rural Oregon family of Bree and your wife, right? And so they're really good. They got a great music IQ. They're actually ones to put on a good show, because if you ever paid for a terrible DJ, it's like you're flushing money down the toilet, right? And you're ruining everybody's party. So get yourself a good DJ who knows what they're doing. Martine and Lukasz, they're very reliable. Book people with integrity, and they're actually at a fair price. Andres was able to buy their plane tickets, fly them out there, and pay them, and that was cheaper than anything else he was able to get from anybody else.
And that was in a budget.
Yeah, so we scruples in the book world, low expenses. So
that's right.
Shout out to those two. You want to talk about Greta real quick?
Absolutely. Oh man, this is so cool. So of course, Greta works with Cardinal Senior Benefits, but mainly, what the biggest thing that we want to make sure we talk about here is the fact that who Greta is. It was so cool to get to meet her on our episode when she came on the air, and I connected hard because as a Latino, I was like, "Yo, you're my people," like La Raza. That's my girl right there, right? But I identified a lot with her story. She a person that really came from not having a ton and decided that it was going to be up to her to make it happen, and just really appreciate having her on the team, or having her on the jockey team, just because she's going to bring the right energy just because of who she is. I know that for a fact because when she went from Southwestern, a very pretty successful career at Southwestern, she went over into Cardinal Senior Benefits Insurance, and she like changed the culture so much that literally broke the company record 2 weeks in a row. And like that kind of person that when you bring her into the culture of wherever you're at, it just kind of like moves up everybody else. She just raises everyone up, and it makes it really easy to want to be involved with her. So she's currently working with insurance, and she's crushing it at it right now. But more than anything, I'm super excited to have her on the jockey team. Like I said, the idea of a person that's so badass that can change the entire trajectory of a company, to have that added to our sponsorship team, and to just bring her to be a part of the vision of what it is, the Ponytails podcast, it's super exciting. So I'm really excited to have Greta on there. I'm looking forward to her future and her growth, and I am for sure inspired and going to be following along closely, because whatever she's doing, I want some of that. I want to be part of. I want to take on and move in her footsteps for
And
sure.
remember, for all your financial freedom needs, like when you work with Greta, she's got you.
Oh yeah, that's right. She got you, baby. She got you.
That's her requested soundbite. So we appreciate you, Greta. We're excited to help you spread the good word. So
Yeah,
good stuff.
she's killing it.
So I'm thirsty for another beer. I know y'all haven't finished your beer, but I would like to
Do
learn.
it.
I would like to learn about this Chinook IPA
Oh, wait.
because I've never heard of a Chinook IPA.
Well, this
until,
one's still the cider because it's a gold.
Yeah.
Well, someone just had an IPA. Was that me?
I don't know.
No way. These are.
Oh, are these all the cider?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hold on.
Oh, she's gonna grab one of these IPAs. Okay.
Nice.
Thank you for
Okay,
pointing that out.
so are we keeping to drinking at get backs, or are you gonna do
got plenty of options
you
here.
said and then they bought stories?
Yeah, I got some of them, but I want to hear some of y'all's. Because you get the closes that are easy, but then you're like, wow, you leave the house and you're like, I can't believe that just happened. And then they bought.
Yeah. Well, real quick, I want to hear about this IPA since we're on the sponsorship talks real quick. Because you can sponsor this hardworking mother brewing beer out of her master bedroom for your enjoyment. Join our Ponytail stable, and it's $50 a month to get beer in your mailbox that you can drink with us live on air. And that cider was really good. Excited to learn about the Chinook IPA.
Yay.
Tell us about it.
All right, so it's a dark IPA, but it's not as hoppy as you would expect an IPA to be. So it's a little bit more floral and lighter than you would expect an IPA to be.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a unique, Chinook is kind of more of a low key IPA. It's very unassuming, but it's really tasty.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Excited to try it out. So cheers to that.
Cheers.
Andres, I know we're making you feel bad for not being here, but you can move to Florida.
But I do have good news for you. So for you and your Bree, your new wife, I know you said that she liked the dry ciders and ciders particularly, right?
Yeah.
So I'm fermenting currently
When
a
you drink the
dry
rest, if I don't
cider,
like it.
dry pear cider, just for you guys. So
Let's
I'll
go.
also have it out for you. Yeah.
Let's
but
go.
It's for you guys for getting married.
Let's
so
go.
congrats to you.
Heck yeah.
Wedding
Yay.
gift. Did you guys hear I got married?
Wait,
No.
no. You got married?
You got married?
Yeah.
What?
I did. I'm in love, and I don't care who knows it.
It wasn't, but I like it.
So yeah. So cheers to this.
Cheers
Yeah.
to this.
This is really good for what it's like what it is.
I know
If
you're
I
gonna-
drank a beer, I would.
No.
Sorry, I just muted myself. Naomi doesn't like IPAs, so she likes this floral IPA. So if you don't like IPAs, give this one a shot. This is
It
very
kind of has
palatable.
like a chocolate aftertaste.
Yeah, it's a darker IPA, so it
Yeah.
definitely has a lingering taste to it. And
You just hold on to it.
Oh,
I'm gonna
I don't know
continue
what you were
drinking my
doing.
cider.
Okay, cool. Sorry about
I'm
that.
gonna continue with this, but she
You know-
described it so well. I had to try it.
Absolutely. So you can have the rest of that later, right? You were asking if I was going to finish it if you didn't like it, but you like it?
I won't drink all of it, but I do like
okay.
it.
So if you don't like IPAs, you might like this one. And if you don't, find a friend.
Drink with a friend.
Oh yeah.
Play it safe cider, but that one is good for. I just don't drink a lot, so I'm just like. What?
Yeah.
But it kind of has like a chocolatey aftertaste, very floral. I worked at World of Beer for 5 minutes, so I think I kind of know a little bit of what I'm talking about with
There you
beer.
go. I worked at a tap
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
Nice.
I
like
could
beer.
suggest yummy things. That's yummy.
Heck yeah. It's foaming up. It's getting a little cool. So yeah, shout out once again, Heather. We're glad to have you on the team. This is good stuff.
This
So
is awesome.
get your trough box in the mail. When the website debuts, what you'll be able to do is click through and kind of like Patreon, but it's with less of the BS. Like it's custom to what we're building with Ponytails. We love that. Shout out to VDisain for building this all out for us. You'll be able to support what Heather's doing. You can get this beer and get some other cool perks through the stable. Do you want to chat about the stable, by the way, real quick and tell people there's the Clydesdale for $50. You get beer. The trough box will have what else in it? What are we thinking?
Yep. So the first tier or the top tier, best tier is you're gonna get a couple beers in the mail to your doorstep. We're gonna do coffee. Those are physical items, and then there's also some other really cool stuff in the works as well. Probably throw in some merchandise, but on top of it, you also get AAA membership. The
Audible.
yeah, the Kindle Audible Unlimited. And then the it's been a minute since I looked at it.
That's okay. You were talking about, was it Disney Plus or was it Netflix?
Yeah, we're gonna go with Disney Plus. So
you're gonna get a Disney Plus membership when you support our podcast. Like,
Yes.
y'all
And
don't
that
have to
one-
bum anyone else's anymore.
Yeah,
That
so
one's-
instead of like paying. Wait, go ahead, Andre.
That one's tentative still. We're trying to figure out the logistics of that still, but that's what we're working on, right? That's
But
Yeah.
or is that
AAA.
confirmed?
Yeah, no.
No, it's what
Hell
we're
yeah.
doing.
Just
She's
kidding, we're
in
confirmed.
charge. She's the one building.
She's
this
in
all
charge.
out.
I didn't know. This is new to me.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go. All right, sweet.
Absolutely. So what else? We got Disney Plus. We got AAA when your car breaks down,
Yep.
and it's gonna be the one that like gets you from really far away, not just like
The
short
5
distance.
miles, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, so 100-mile radius. And so if you get stuck while you're driving to your turf or in and out of your turf or whatever you do,
Or you're home.
or you're home,
Or you're home
picking
if
up your
you're done,
kids, yeah, you got gas pickup to whatever you want. So that's
Cool.
all in your trough box. So instead of paying it for yourself, you just do it through us, through our Ponytail Podcast Avenue. And on top of it, you get shipped some really cool beer, some other awesome products,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all locally made. And yeah.
You get to
local-
support your favorite podcast.
Yeah, support your favorite podcast.
Local to Parrish, Florida. Delicious.
Just in case you forgot, we're your favorite podcast.
Oh yeah.
Us.
Oh yeah.
That's us.
Joe Rogan who? What?
Joe Rogan who?
Times, huh?
Oh wait,
I'm
so that's the
stuck.
top tier. So that's for the Clydesdales, right?
That's
So
right.
that's only $50 a month. I mean, it has like over a $300 value, especially with AAA alone.
Yeah.
Like if you want to bottom down from that, $15 to $49. You still get some merchant, like 15% off the merchandise.
Yeah. Same with Clydesdale. All these things are for Clydesdales, and then for $15 to $49 a month.
Yep. So you can still, you basically just minus that all of the trough box perks. Yeah. And then if you really just want to support us and help us get really great equipment, and support us every month, anything from like $1 to $14 is our
Entry level.
ponytail or
So-
pony entry.
Yeah, so there's tiers, right? Tier 1 is the ponies. For $1 to $15 a month. You can get access to the stable, which is our online community through Facebook for now, where you'll be able to like vote on podcast stuff. Like, hey, if you want themes for a certain month, we're gonna like give options for like the month of July. What are we gonna talk about? Freedom? Are we gonna talk about fireworks? Are we gonna talk about what's a good July?
Well, 4th of
topic?
July stories.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, we'll be able to pick themes through our audience. So that's how we're helping y'all stay engaged and get what you want out of what we're producing for you. And then from like 15 to 49, that's so the 1 to 15 is the pony status. Like you are a pony in the stable. The 15 to 49 is the stallion, is what you'll be labeled as in the stable.
Mostly
And then-
get online perks. Online perks that
Yes.
exclude the beer,
yes,
essentially.
and then Clydesdales. you
Get the
know,
beer.
Get the beer because
Top
Budweiser or whatever, they like their Clydesdales, right?
dog.
That's what I think of. So.
But this is way better than that piss.
Oh
water.
yeah, right. Who
What?
needs a Bud
Piss
Head?
water?
Piss
What?
water, what? Yeah, so it's totally, it just makes sense to just do the Clydesdale and then get the beer on top of everything else.
Absolutely.
Because like beer.
So yeah, join
That's
join
right.
the stable when it opens, coming soon. So
Also,
Pre-orders
keep in
being
mind,
taken now though through our Instagram page.
true. Message
Yes,
us.
but-
We'll get you set up.
but also keep in mind, on top of that is for everybody who's part of the stable, we will keep track of all of their progress, and we will keep track of all of the things that are going on based on dollar value and on things that they buy. So if you are part of the stable, you also get to be part of a contest. And what's going to happen is that, for every time you share, comment, or like on a post or on especially on an episode, you're going to get certain points, which are going to be known as units, not UNITS, YOUNITS, because
Because
you are your units. And
ah,
throughout the month,
did I forget?
throughout the dollar value that you pay a monthly. So if you pay in the Clydesdale level, if you pay in the whatever level you're paying on, that's why it's $50 or more, because you can go win if you want. what happens is that counts towards it. Every time that you buy merch, it counts towards it. Like if you buy a hoodie, it's first worth a certain amount, or a hat, especially if it's newer.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen is every month we're going to bring out the trot setter, and whoever is at the top is going to get recognized.
Not the pace setter, right? But the trot
Not
setter.
the pace setter, the trot setter. And so what's going to happen is we're going to add up all the units for that month, and then we're going to announce on the air and through our platforms who is the top, pony or Clydesdale or stable member each month. And so that's going to be a fun little way to keep everyone excited about participating. Also, things like commenting on the stable, sharing things about or commenting on episodes, or being involved and engaged in the show gets you units. So whoever has the most units, and then whoever wins for the year, maybe they get a free Bizzler trip. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
See how it plays out. It'll be a fun.
We'll see how.
More prizes to be named later.
Oh
yeah, but that's where we're starting at. And of course, you get voting rights, right? So as things develop, we can all vote. Depending on your level, you can vote and have a certain number of votes as things change. So then that way it's a community thing, and not just us four coming up with stuff, but it's a community. So we're trying to bring this network to life, baby. Let's go.
Aren't we doing something like for the best story that we all like, that our stable crew votes on, like they get their caricature put on our items on the box?
Yeah,
what's this about a caricature, and who's the artist? Mrs. Heatherstad's son. Sorry, I just spoiled the answer to my question here. So Heather, tell us about this caricature.
We don't have any inside jokes from working together. None at all.
Well,
say more right now.
So I'm not a son.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Daughter. Wow. That's so funny.
You have brothers, that's why.
Yeah.
It's fine.
This is Heatherstad's daughter. I said that earlier when I greeted you at your home.
She's like, I didn't grow up with all brothers.
No, I did.
No.
Okay.
So anyway.
So I think what we're gonna do is, so my dad's a really, really very talented illustrator, and we're going to have it. So our stable crew gets to vote on the best pony story for that month.
Mm-hmm.
And then my dad is going to actually create a caricature of the story. So if everyone remembers like Lee McCroskey's like flagpole story, imagine that in a caricature.
Oh my
or something like this is a working title, but like, and then that will go on like our beer label or like our trough box.
Oh, I love it. I didn't realize that was the next step. This is so cool to have Heather on the team, because she's like, I'm getting crazy with my ideas. Let's go. I love that.
I just have a really creative family. So
there you go. That's
Mr.
awesome.
Free reign.
Mr. Heather's dad, quite creative.
What's his actual name?
Ken Dutton.
Ken.
Ken.
I did not know his name was Ken.
Mr. Heather Dutton.
Yes, Mr. Heather's dad.
And Heather is Mr. Heather's dad's daughter.
Super talented.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I didn't get his creative juices, but one of my brothers did. So
hey, you're making something creative.
Yep. This is my art.
We're assembling greatness.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. We've got stories for days, but like we've been working hard for days. And Heather, shout out to you for putting all this together.
You guys too, man.
Thank you. This is what we're doing with our sponsorship money, and all these things that monthly you can help support as well. So
all right.
Heck yeah. Story time. What are we talking about?
All right, story time. I think we need to do each, if we can, at least one, maybe two. It's up to you guys. Of and then they bought stories, and then we can call that.
I say we each do one more. Like, right? Pony story time?
Yeah. That's what he was
ponytails.
Yeah, he was saying one or two. So I voted one.
Sure. One's good. One's good.
And then 4 stories.
Yeah.
Just 4 great stories.
Yes.
And as we do that, one last word from one of our last sponsors, and then we can start the ponytails, and then we're jet. Shout out to Julio Hernandez.
Arriba.
Nick and I have worked for Julio for a while. I do a lot more part-time than Nick does. But the good thing is it's even part-time is a lot. And so it's a lot of fun. The kind of energy is all there, very similar to Southwestern real estate. But the difference is that these guys are changing the world by making it go green. And so the solar company called EnLight.Energy, it was started by Julio Hernandez, a former DSM. And man, it's so much fun to work with Julio. You could tell it's very easy to understand why he became a DSM, because he took that same leadership and applied it to EnLight.Energy. And it's an easy person to work for. It's a fun person to work for. It's a very trusting person to work for. And honestly, the leadership with him, and then also Alex Black, is such a fun environment. It's a good time. They're blowing up in Florida right now, and they're looking for people to go and help them out. So if you're in Florida, really in any state, and you want to make some serious money, and I'm talking about like for real, some serious money, EnLight.Energy is definitely where you want to go. The besides the financial gain, right? And besides the culture, there is also a lot to be said about the relative ease and different change of pace that it is from like the door-to-door type of thing. You can't still go door-to-door. Of course, there's other avenues. The most efficient is for sure door-to-door, but it's a lot more chill and it's a lot more of a longer sales. So the process is a lot more fun, and you get to become friends with your customers, which is really cool. Today, I got off the phone with one of my customers in Florida, and they were just catching up with me about my marriage and stuff. It was so fun. I was like, man, it's such a cool company to work with. So yeah, on that note, Nick, whatever you got to say.
I was just going to say, we just hired on a new rep in Colorado. So Colorado market unlocked. If you live in Colorado, if you live literally anywhere the sun shines, there's a few states where it doesn't totally make sense, but more on that another time. We can help you out. Andres lives in a state where it, kind of makes sense. Oregon, not a ton of sun there, but he can sell remotely. So
that's right.
Did we want to shout out VDisain? I know we kind of talked about them a little bit. They've got some stuff at the website.
Yeah, you can go ahead, do that. While you do that, actually the beer's running through me. I'm gonna take a potty break, and
Please
you do that.
You got it. So VDisain, our Estonian friends in Estonia, in Tallinn, Oscar and Oliver sold books for a ton of summers. Oscar is actually still selling books, and Oliver, he actually stayed with me in Omaha for 2 weeks. I was his host dad. And so our host dad, I am my host's son, my book son, whatever you want to call him.
Wow.
What
is it?
Like,
you've been a host dad. That's like a very interesting dynamic.
I know, right?
Like,
was he younger than you?
He still is.
Okay.
So yeah, Oliver was awesome. I actually have like a Estonian passport gift that he gave me when he moved in. He was like, "Hey, I'm from Estonia. I'm a bookman. You're a bookman too? Awesome. Here's a gift." And it's like,
so the Europeans.
Yeah, so they're awesome. But yeah, it was really cool because he hit me up saying, "Hey, pandemic kept all the book kids in Europe," and so he wanted to actually start getting into web designing. And so VDisain is something that they've been putting together for the last handful of years. And basically the gist of it is that American companies, when they build a really good website for your company, they can charge you like 20, 30 grand to make it fully integrated and have systems like a lead generating type of website for your business. And so they aren't even as good as these Estonians, where Eastern Europe is the hotbed for software and tech. And sorry, I love our jockeys. I'm really getting into it, but they have really high quality websites that they make for a third to half the cost of what a normal website costs from an American company. And so if you want to support your book people on a budget, let's get in touch with VDisain, and they can help you resurface your website and everything that goes along with that. So shout out Oscar and Oliver. We're excited to be launching this website very soon, and you'll see exactly what their work can do. So heck yeah. Shout out team.
Boom, baby. Nice job.
Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right. Who wants to go? And then they bought stories.
I feel like I gotta think of one. These are the and then they bought stories.
They bought because of a crazy thing. I can start if you guys want, and then
you start. I gotta think. There are
so many.
100th episode. This is a big one. What story are we gonna tell?
Okay, third summer. This is a true story. I've run into a guy who runs a construction operation, and guy, he's just one of those dads. When you meet a dad and you're like, this guy's cool. He doesn't give a shit about my sales talk. I know that if I can get him to like me, or even just think I'm cool, he's just going to drop money on this. And then I'm going to get, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
I didn't even do a sales talk with the guy. The guy just shows up. He's like, what do you got? I'm like, I'm just a college kid. I just straight start going into my intro, and he's like, dude, what are you doing? What do you got? And I'm like, books. And I was like, he goes, what kind of books? I'm like, all right, I guess I'm just gonna do a door demo because it's gonna be one of those, a quick nose. And he goes, okay, I got a kid this age and I got a kid that age, and okay, which ones would you recommend for me? I'm like, this one, this one, this one. He goes, man, I don't know. And I'm just like looking over, and I'm like, what's that? And he goes, oh, that's for my business. And he has like one of those like excavators, like the Caterpillar yellow ones.
No way.
Okay.
And I'm like, he goes, yeah, I run a company. I'm like, oh, I've never been into one of those before. And he goes, come here. So he takes me inside the thing, and he's like showing me how to operate it. You know, the crane and like the thing it opens and closes, and then like a little button has.
I love
And
how
he
dads
goes,
love to show off on the book field. They're like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we're
it's
from
so
out of
fun.
state. Come look at my stuff. It's so cool. And you're like,
Yeah,
okay. They're
Yeah.
like, look at my claw thing.
yeah, it's just like that.
Look
And
at my
so
farm equipment.
I'm moving the damn thing, and he's like, you're pretty good. You're picking up pretty well. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. My daddy stole one of these, but I never really got in one before. And he goes, tell you what, here's so we start talking a little bit more about his business. And I'm like, so how do you like know that a guy can operate these? And he's like, well, our interviews, they got to be able to pick up a quarter with this machine, and it's just fucking giant crane. And I'm like,
Wow.
okay,
Holy crap.
if I can pick up a quarter with this thing,
No way.
you buy the whole set.
No way, dude.
And he's
what the
like,
heck?
deal. So he puts out a freaking quarter, and he goes, now the rules are you got to pick up the quarter without like just digging a giant hole, because that doesn't count. You got to just pick up just a quarter. I'm like, all right, but can you at least guide me a little bit so I can see? He goes, no, the rules. I'm like, come on, man. He's all right, fine. And so I started dropping the crane, and at first he's like, no way. I dropped the crane, and it gets right to it, and then there's like a little button, and it like brings out like the little fine blade.
Ooh.
And I'm like, the only way that I can think of doing this is if I make it flip on there. I don't think I can like pick it up, slide it under, but I know if I can like drop it, it'll like, maybe it'll flip on there. And it's super thin, not razor thin, but it's like, you know, like a debit card thin sometimes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, here we go. And I just like jerked it. And right as it did that, the thing went boop, and it flipped the quarter over it right on top of the thing. And I'm like, oh, let's go. Let's go. I did it. And he was like, damn it. All right, fine. He takes out his checkbook, and he signs it with his business. Yeah, the check's got to be
What?
somewhere in Southwestern. Yeah,
No.
it was so funny. And
What
then he
summer was
bought.
that?
That was my
Where-
third
where-
summer.
Dude, that's
He's
so
got
Near
legendary
Honesdale,
stories that,
Pennsylvania.
like, I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
talk much about my experience on the podcast because it's not
funny.
really like.
This is why we knew we had to start some, because everybody's got stories like this, and this is why these episodes are fun, is we get to tell our stories.
And we're gonna
so.
change out the guest panels every month too. So
Oh,
it'll
yeah.
be new
Yeah.
people with Andres. This is just the first one, so team.
Heck yeah.
Go team. Man,
We wanted to make it the
that
team
is
first.
whack.
That's
I
pretty
gotta
cool.
think now. I really gotta think now. What do you two go? I'm
Okay.
Not pay attention.
I had a story in my mind, so I need to take a second to remember it, because I've already had 3 beers.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, I had one at like 5 o'clock. So
Getting
tasty.
drunk with the podcast team.
oh yeah, they're tasty, tasty beers. So yeah, what story was it?
Nick's
Heather,
buzzing.
keep-
Heather, do you got one?
Yeah.
I have 2.
Okay, perfect. Thank goodness.
Okay, so the first one, crap, actually, they're both from my third summer, and one like my third summer, I was super committed to starting early, like by 7:15, and not ending until after 10:30, even if it was with cold knocking.
Nice.
And so, like, the first house I went to in this cul-de-sac, I remember, like, it's kind of rainy. The dad opened. It's 7:15. He's like, what? And I'm like, hey, like, you know, the approach. And then he's like, oh. And he's like, hold on. And he, like, closes the door and, like, actually comes back. Because, like, I'm sure we've all, like, had it where they actually close
Yeah.
the door, hold on, and then they don't.
Yeah.
So he actually does come back, like, 30 seconds later. And we sit down. He's like, fine. And you're like, we sit down on the bench. And he's like, oh. So I started doing the thing, and like he's like, we have those. Actually, hold on. And so it's like before school, and so like everyone's kind of getting ready for school, and so we like sit down, and he like takes me in, and I remember the wife was there, or like he had to go get the wife. It was a thing, and the kids come down, like what, and like, And he like brings the wife down from upstairs, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see what's going on because she's sick. And so we like sit down, and they're like, we actually have these books from a while ago, like old books. And I think I only sold them like the CEA or whatever that was at the time. And then also like the TLCs, like a weird package, like because they had some of the other things.
A little mix and match.
Yeah, but this isn't so much of like and then they bought story, but it was just like really, really sweet because how much like the dad loved his wife. And he was like, and she was sick, and she was like, I have a brain tumor. And so like her speech, like they've already done operations, so her speech was delayed. But she was with it. Like you could tell she's there. It's just like auditory.
Wow.
And then he was like, and this is your homework too. Like this is how we're gonna get better. And he like kept looking at the TLCs, and I was like even now, like it gives me like the chills. But it was just really, really sweet. And I actually, it was just one of those kind of like, and it was like first house knock, early knock in the morning, and just like goosebumps. Like it was just really, really
those like sweet sit downs that you're like, wow, like yeah.
And he was like, are you kids gonna use it? They're like, yeah. But he was like just so infatuated. He was like, okay, honey, like this is how we're gonna get we're gonna get better. And like because he wanted to make her mind keep, active and yeah. And I'm pretty sure when I did the deliveries, like everything was going well. So
yeah.
I know.
The heartstrings.
Yeah. Dang. And especially with like the what do you want? Fine, I'll sit down. Like he sat down anyways. Like despite his wife being sick, despite his kids getting ready for school, he's like, fine. Oh, okay, hold on. And like and it was just like
open-minded by default, right?
Yeah.
I hate you, but come on in. All right. Okay. Oh, what? Oh, yeah. That's so emotional. Did you want to tell your other story?
You can go.
Okay.
I already went.
So I remember. Thank you. That was an awesome story. But I remember my fourth summer. It might have been my third summer, but I'm pretty sure my fourth in Vermont. Nothing really extra crazy about this day, other than like I love Vermont. I miss it. It's just like all New England is like super spread out, rolling hills. The Green Mountains of Vermont. And like there's this one house that's kind of up on a hill, and like there's a succession of hills of really beautiful. There's like a really angry first grade teacher. I was like, oh, you're a teacher? Heck yeah, check out these books. She's like, nope. This day was rough. Like I was working hard. I had a stat call or a coaching call in the middle of the day with Jon Stewart that week. And so Naomi's Jon Stewart's producer right now for his music.
Manager.
Pardon me.
It's
There's
okay.
a difference.
There's a difference.
So manager, and she's our podcast manager as well. So anyway, John, he like gives me like really nondescript coaching of just like go knock on every third door and you got it, Nick. I appreciate you, Birdie. Like, and he's building me up, and I'm like, okay, John, I got this. And so I'm like having a 0 day by like 7 or 8 p.m. and I like was like for some reason determined to like make up for a 0 day by just showing the bag and like really emphasizing it too. It's like a whole library. It's a system, diapers to diploma.
It's kind of like when you're like, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just like sit down with, it was like this really like super, like when a mom is like locked in, like, oh my gosh, education for my kid. Oh, I need to, okay, please come in. And she's like, I think it might've been like a prior, like had Southwestern books growing up type of person. So she just like got it instantly. And they had like a 4 or 5 year old son who they just like the dad, he was like, this is all up to her department, but I'm interested. I'm checking it out. And as we're going through everything, they're just like, wow, yeah. So like, they're not going to change the curriculum anytime soon. I'm like, sure, yeah, this will help out with the curriculum in the future, which, you could talk about whether or not someone's convicted and dropping a whole bag on a 5-year-old. But like, I'm just showing everything. And she's like, I want it, everything. This is amazing. And I was like, you should probably not get the CEA and the honors, but I'll give you everything else. And
good call.
And so, like they just like get real into it and sign them up. And that was just like the first time I'd ever actually done that before, because I was more just like, specific to a little pocket, and I never really sold the whole bag to a 5-year-old. You know, the kid bought the books, the parents paid for it, right?
Yeah.
But so yeah, little kid with his checkbook. No, just kidding. So it was so funny. I remember this is why this is like a funny story. It's like John Stewart checked in. He's like, "Hey, Birdie, how'd the day go?" And I'm like, John Stewart, dude, I had a 0 day till like 8 p.m. and I dropped the bag on a 5-year-old. And he's like, "Fuck yeah, bro, let's go." So that was like one of those. And then they bought like just out of nowhere, making a whole day. That's why I keep going. So
Yeah. John
Gotta
says
sell
you
books
put 2
again.
cats away, and you'll sell at least one.
Yeah, that's definitely something I would love to go back and like I would tell a ton of those things, but go ahead and share. Is it yours? You gave your story, Andres. Yours. How about Naomi? What you got?
Sure. Do we want more like sentimental or just like what the?
Let's go. Let's end it with a what the.
Okay. I got a couple short little what does, and then I've got my biggest pony of my entire career.
Ooh.
I was gonna say that for like my actual episode, but I don't know. Whatever.
It's your
floats the
call.
boat.
It's your call.
We'll start with the short what does, and if it's time for Andres' story, then we'll do that. And
You
then
gave
I already did mine.
Use the coin flip.
oh my gosh, yeah. I guess he was.
Yeah, this is it. This is it.
This
It's on
is
your
really
story.
good stuff, Heather.
So
If
how
you
do
want proof of how good this beer is, holy shit. Listen to the last hour and a half of
You're
this
gonna end
episode.
the 100th episode.
I'm
so,
ending the 100th episode.
Yeah.
Wait, I have a really good question for Naomi after. That will be like a good ending after
Oh,
your
okay.
story.
Okay.
Okay.
So tell whatever story you want.
All right, I'll do
the-
quick, short little warm ups with the what does, and then I can end it with something banging. So one of my what does was like this old guy answered, and I was like, he doesn't have kids. But I had like pre-approach, so I was like, maybe there's a kid. And then this kid comes around, I was like, kid, sweet, let's go. So I approach him. Oh wait, no, wait, that was okay. The kid came out because I was like, I'm walking up to the house. I'm like, you know, like when it's an old person house, like basketball hoops rotted, garden gnomes, kind of like smells like old people, a
Yeah.
van with like a handicap sign on it, and you're like, nah.
They do
No,
not
thank
have
you.
kids.
They don't
Yep.
have kids. And then this kid comes out, and I'm like, oh, kid. Okay,
Oh,
cool.
child.
So the pre-approach is right. Okay, cool. So this was like my 3rd or 4th summer. This kid, he like comes in, he's very mature. He's probably like 8 years old. And he's like, yes, my grandfather is inside, and let me go ahead and ask him real quick. Just like very mature, very well spoken. I was like, okay, kid. And so he like goes and gets grandpa, and grandpa's just like, yeah, come on in. And so we're sitting down, and the grandpa's like, he doesn't need this, he doesn't need this, he doesn't need this. And I'm like, so I'm going? Like, you know, it's like one of those sit downs where you're like sitting there and you're like, I should leave because they're not giving me buying signs. But the whole time the kid's like flipping, very composed, just like flipping the books. And he's like, no, I could see how this would be helpful. Like, this is so helpful. He's like 8. It's just very like,
Oh, the kid's saying that.
yeah,
wow.
he's like, yes, this is very nice. May I see the history section, please? I'm
Wow.
like, sure. I'm like, and then he was like, then the grandpa was like, you actually want these? He's like, yeah, I'd rather have this instead of like an Xbox. And I was like, what kid is
Fuck
this?
yeah.
Sheldon.
And so
Oh, that
this
kid's
Little-
kid
little
paid for
Sheldon.
half of- yeah, I showed them like half or full. This kid paid for half of it from his like bank account or whatever, and the grandpa paid for the other half from his bank account. And I was like, wow, okay. But it was like one of those that
Damn,
grandpa
dude.
was just like, we don't read books in this house. Like, we don't use technology. Like, we don't
Wow.
do this or that. And I was like,
But the kid's like, very helpful, yes.
I was like, this is the weirdest. It was like a Core 4. It was like a solid, like, you know, made probably $300-400 off it. I don't know. But like, it was just like, it was a solid package. And grandpa was just like, nah. So that was weird. And then there are just like some weird stories of just like, what the frick? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're just like not expecting this analytical dad. This is the first time that I remembered in my brain to communicate with analytical people differently than like entertainment people.
Sure.
Because like,
So what happened?
yeah, I was in this garage with this dad, and he was an engineer, as they are, those analytics that they are. And this is me when I'm selling, right? I'm like so bubbly, yeah. But then I was like, oh, I need to chill out, okay? So
You need to speak to.
and
grab
I'm
some
like,
figures.
this is the first time where I cognitively was selling, and I was like, oh, I need to get on their level, right?
Mhm.
Because this was my second summer, so you're still kind of like a baby and like learning how to sell. And so he was just like very calm, and I just like took it like 4 notches down, like a couple paragraphs in the intro, and then he was just like so like relaxed, and it was just like he didn't smile one time except for when his daughter smiled one time. And I was like, that's a great smile. And like he kind of looked at me and agreed. And then I was like, he's buying now, you know? But I was like, so it was
Gotcha.
just like, gotcha. But it was just like a very like, I didn't have to say much, you know? You just speak clearly. It's just interesting. And I was like, there's no way he's buying. And then it just like they close themselves. And you're like, all right, well.
What everyone likes about the way I do business.
Exactly.
He smiles. What everyone likes about the way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And
So-
then
So what's the big one?
so this is my biggest pony of my entire career, I think.
Let's hear it.
Hold on. Do we want to tell the story now, or do we want to hear Heather's question?
Yeah,
I think your story now would be good.
it could be on my actual interview episode when we do that one day.
So do you want to save that for later?
I don't
And
know.
then you can
Well,
ask
I'm
your
kind of curious
question?
about the question.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah,
want to
I
know
am
what Heather's
too.
gonna ask.
Yeah.
No, I didn't think of it till now. So
Okay.
this isn't like
So
premeditated.
we'll
or
save
anything.
your banger. For,
We'll
for
save
your
the
episode.
banger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So if you guys remember, when you leave the book field, especially within those first couple weeks, even months, you have all that clarity.
Like you're talking just after one summer, or
Like
after
your
you leave
brain-
the company.
No,
Matrix
like
is up.
after the summer.
Okay.
Any summer.
Matrix, yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
any summer, first or last, whatever in between. And you just have so much crystal clarity. And it's like something that you'd like I had never experienced it till I sold books and like and then had those like couple like months or so after the book field,
course.
right? So Naomi is our most recent graduate of the book field.
Mm-hmm.
So like what is something that sticks out to you the most that you're gonna take away? Because like now like Nick, like all of us are like blurry.
We've been out.
Yeah, we're are, like all that
We're
clarity.
trying to
is kinda,
revive.
Like,
We're trying to revive some clarity with this whole ponytail thing. We're like, oh yes, write that down.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff.
but a lot of it's just like unique to specifically your life and like your circumstance. So like what's something that you specifically are taking away with like you have the most fresh clarity about, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a doozy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So clarity from that's a loaded question.
Right?
That is
Yeah.
a loaded question.
But you're the only one of us that can answer it. Because
And
you're the most
after this most recent summer, right? Summer number 5.
Yeah.
you
5
know.
whole summers, very
Yeah.
good.
So I guess clarity in the sense of like
Especially after this 5th summer, like what was like the big lesson? It was like, oh duh. Like this
So
is what
Heather, do you
will
just
never
want to like
forget.
host from now on, or
Yeah,
what?
right.
Like,
I love it. So does that question resonate with you? Do you have like a big standout from your 2021 summer?
So it was actually my least favorite summer.
Mm.
But that's okay. Because
It's where you learn the most. Arguably. It's where
arguably
you still learn a lot.
but like yeah, it's like it was exactly what it was supposed to be, you know?
Let's talk about it. What you got?
Well, I remember Austin Satters, shout out to my bud. He would like coach me sometimes. And like I was really frustrated week 3. And like the big theme from this past summer was peace, you know? And so Austin taught me about like protecting my peace.
Mm.
Right. And so that was super positive, which was probably, I feel like every summer you could probably label every summer that you have with one like solid word. And this last one was definitely peace. Cause like as an 8, I'll like control things or like I'll want to control things and like make it perfect. And like I don't know everything, but I know lots of things. Right. And so, but like learning how to, like, I thought it would be, I had a lot of life events happen before the summer. So I was like, this is my summer of freedom. Like, I love selling books. I love unplugging for 4 months. I love all these things about it. I know it's my last summer, but like, this isn't freedom. This is what this is to me. And then it was my like least free summer. Like, it was like, I never felt more like enshackled, I guess. since I went through stuff with my parents back when I was in high school and everything. So I was like thinking, I was like, but like life sometimes is about more so like finding the peace like within your discomfort and finding peace like within the trials and tribulations, and like learning how to count it all joy. Good ciders. But like, yeah, just like learning peace, you know, and that there's like peace in everything, and being okay with everything, you know, and just yeah. So I guess clarity, like it was definitely like a weird like matrix, and then like leaving is strange too.
Oh yeah, that Bookfield hangover.
Yeah. So it's definitely different, but peace and just like kind of like I really can do anything that I want to do, you know, and just like whatever. Like people may take things as one way, but it's just like not always what it seems, and sometimes they're just not aware enough, or sometimes competent, or you know, it's like sometimes even at gas stations, it's like people will say something and it's just like, I have grace with you because you just don't even you don't even consider the people around you. You know, it's like you don't know what's going on in my life, so it's like, but you might not even be emotionally capable of understanding that. So it's like I can be the bigger person, or I can be emotionally capable to not get upset with you. You know, or just things like that. So I don't know. Does that answer your question?
It's super good. That's
That's I haven't pondered that one thing. It's awesome how like when you go through a summer, there's like words like peace, right? Yours just that's like your lesson right there. There's so many different one word type of lessons that like book people, they sit on a word for a while, right? My focus this week is peace. My focus this week is laughter,
presence.
Yeah, all these things that you just focus on.
Dingleberries.
Yes, but like
that too.
Yeah, so like there's you know, persistence, or you know, all these things that like, especially when you have like a mantra that comes from like a scroll, you know, and you know, in Ogmanzino, there's different things that we like philosophically unravel between each door, because that's our focus, you know, and that's what carries us through so much. And I think like the really beautiful thing about the goal periods and how we chunk everything of a 3-month long summer of just grinding, you know, and like we have like little periods where we just are like, this is my little focus, my focus for the day, for the week, for the goal period, whatever it is. Like that's how you build your character. That's how you build not just the skills, but your character, you know, because there's like you were saying, when you show up to someone out at a gas station in real life and they're just like troubled, right? And they make it your problem, you know, it's, they have never had the opportunity to do such a thing, to build that character and build that sense of peace or humility or whatever it happens to be through just getting out there. So shout out to everybody who's ever picked up a green book bag and maybe had a one-word focus here and there. That's awesome. I love that you can sum up a summer in one word. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Just so you be grounded. Yeah. You are your own best friend. Or Momo, my car. He is my best friend.
Always open their doors.
Your car always becomes your best friend.
Oh yeah. You become comfortable in your car.
You've seen me go through everything. You know?
There's still some stuff.
Like they've seen all the joy. They've gotten all the dirt on them too. They've gotten like, they get beat up just as much as you do, you know? So like, love on your cars, ladies and gentlemen. AAA, become a Clydesdale.
Yeah.
Oh, this is great.
On that note,
guys. Oh, this is so cool. Love you, Andres.
On that note, that's how you come full circle.
Oh yeah.
Or oval if we're, you know, jockeys running on a track on an episode. And guys, thank you. This has been a good 100th episode, man. Look at this. We did it. Number 100. Nick, you throw up the 1.
Oh,
and then Naomi throws up the 0. Hey, 100. That's right.
Hey.
Yeah, take a screenshot, right? Take a screenshot.
Hang on. Let me see.
Do it, Andres.
I'll do the screenshot. Here we go. Number 100. Here we go. Ready? And Got it.
That's awesome.
I think I got it.
Promo pick right there. Thanks.
That's a great one.
We
I think I
love
got it.
everybody for checking us out. You know, if you're a part-time listener, if you're a full-time listener, we are excited to dig into, you know, all the stories to come. So we've got plenty of awesome people for, you know, finishing out the month of March into April. We've already got most of April booked. If you want to be a guest, we'll get you in that month of May. And who's next this upcoming Sunday, Andres?
I believe it is Marty Pyle, if I'm not mistaken.
Pyle.
But dude, Marty was recommended by the McCroskey.
That's
Ooh.
right.
I've heard that name.
Yes.
That's a name.
That's
a name.
Yeah, like a dirt
Our
pile.
name.
Oh no, just kidding. It's Margie. Margie
Oh,
Medina.
Margie.
Oh yeah, so she
Yeah,
recycles
yeah.
furniture and all that, right?
Yeah. And then after that, we got Alicia Huck,
Nice.
and then
Yeah.
Marty Pyle, and then Pat Osegian. How do you say Osegian?
Osegan.
Os-
Osegan.
Oh, I
Osegan.
thought it was Sigian.
No, Osegan.
Me
I
too.
like Osegan,
If you've listened
but-
to Dave Rosen's Advanced Sales, he talks about being roommates with Pat. And that record breaking summer, I believe it was, or maybe
Yeah.
you know, one of those summers, he was roommates with Pat Osegan. So you'll be able to hear some pretty cool stuff about what Pat's learned throughout the years.
And then I'm not exactly sure all the April ones. We have a lot of April ones confirmed, but I know one of them is Roger Sipe, and then we have a bunch more Robin Mukherjee and a bunch of people. So we're excited for that. Look forward to it. Follow us, like us, support us. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You can definitely become part of the stable if you go on the on our website. It'll be available really soon. It'll be through Stripe. It'll be like a monthly thing, and then we can start sending you some stuff. And then of course, a merch will be released too, so you guys can, if you're a book person and you're listening to this, there will be fanny packs available. So if you're going to be shopping for fanny packs, hold tight. We're going to get them to you, and that way you can use a Ponytails Podcast fanny pack. So on that note, my name is Andres Gamboa. I've been with Nick Tvrdy, Naomi Kaufman, and Heather Dutton. We are part of the Ponytails Podcast team, and this has been episode number 100, baby. Let's go. On that note, we're dropping that mic. We'll see you later. Peace out, everyone.